Max.
Max, he said. Maximum.
Yeah, it's probably once a week. He's probably right. I don't recall it happening more than once. And yes, they can hear us. Hello. What's up, Josh? Once a week.
What?
It's on to the stream, dude.
Okay. Hi, stream. I feel like Fat Axl Rose trying to perform for Guns N' Roses right now. Welcome to the jungle. I had to run to the fortress of Nerditude because I forgot my headsets. And all right, I'm not that bad. I'm not that out of shape. That was more for comedic purposes. But the point is, I am out of shape. I am A shape, round, but out of shape, and running down. I don't know, how far is the office from here, Lonzo? 20 feet maximum? Maximum.
Well,
20
that's it's more like 15, probably.
Yeah. Well, I'm going all the way to the far side of the office to grab a headset and back. And in fairness, I was on the dead sprint because of those of you that watch the stream. For those of you that don't, I put together, because I am a man of many talents, a little intro card that does like a 10-second countdown to the start of the show. I had to push play. I had to run all the way over there, grab the headset, run all the way back. It's a maximum of a 40-foot sprint. It's the equivalent of like an 11-yard dash at most. And I get back to the chair like,
you do understand that, the first 15 yards or the first 10 yards actually are the most important. So,
yeah, because I got a lot of mass to get moving.
Well, I mean, in football, the first, that's how they judge linemen. That's what you were going for, right?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Like it's if you watch the combine and you watch the 40-yard dash, the big critiques are always about coming out of the gate, right? It's always, how do you get started? How do you come out of the gate? And I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of mass to get moving out of this chair, through the door, down the hall. It's the start of a 40-yard dash. And I made it plenty of time back. There were still 3 seconds left on the clock when I got back to the chair. So that was like 7 seconds to get out of the chair, down the hallway, pick up the headset, get back, get them plugged in.
Josh is killing me. You're just a sturdy boy. Sturdy boy! Look out. Now we're going to have to do that.
Oh, what a haul, man. What a haul. But we made it. We're back, ladies and gentlemen. I do have to tell you, not that any of you care, but I have to stop. I officially have to stop screwing around. For those of you that don't know and don't follow the show with any consistency.
If you don't, what's wrong with you, man?
Also true. You should be, because it's a wonderful show. But for those of you who don't follow the show with any consistency, I got engaged back in March, and the question, first off, for those of you that are married, I'm sure most of you know this already. I did not. When I talk to people at this point in my life, Lonzo, there's only one question that people care about right now, and it's, have you picked a date? Right? Have you picked a date for your wedding? Have you picked a date? Have you picked a date? It's the only thing people want to know.
Yeah, the only thing I want to know is how long you're going to be off.
Probably 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, because we're going to roll the 1 week of vacation we would take normally for a wedding, and then
Gotcha.
we're like, we'll just take the full, because I got the extra week of vacation when I signed my new contract, so why not throw it in there?
I want to be like other shows, and when one guy's off, the other one takes off. So maybe I'll just schedule 2 weeks then too.
I love it.
I will not be allowed to do that. It would be worth a shot though.
So that's the question I'm getting right now. When, schedule, date. So last night, the lady friend and I had our first, let's actually sit down and start mapping out what this looks like. And none of you care about this, and that's fine. But I'm driving to the point of, we started picking out all right, what are we going to wear? What's the wardrobe? Who's doing what? And I got to the point where I'm like, I have to be less of a person. There has to be less of me. All right.
Okay, you're talking about no
Weight-wise.
longer being high calorie.
Right.
No longer a high calorie person.
I need to be a low calorie version of I need to be the Splenda version of myself. All right. I need to be the low cal version of myself because listen, nobody wants to be the worst version of themselves in your wedding photos, right? That's not to say I won't immediately get fat again afterwards, but I'd like to be low calorie. I'd like to be what do we call ourselves if we're not sturdy anymore? I'd like to be the
svelte,
the svelte, the suave, the muy guapo version of myself. Yeah.
I don't know about that last one, but okay.
So I've got.
Does that mean more good? What's
guapo,
more?
handsome?
Okay. All right.
I'd like to be a more svelte version. I like svelte. We're going with that. A more svelte version of myself. And so after we had this conversation, I was like, all right, it is official. I cannot screw around anymore because we don't have a date, but we do have like a window, like a 2-month window where like it's gonna be somewhere in here, right? Somewhere in this range, our little 2-month window. But it's not that far. It's like a year and a half out, right? So I'm like, all right, I basically got that many months to drop legitimately 45, 50 pounds. I just have to do it, right? And so I started last night. I got the tablet and I started putting together like my new plan. I'm gonna run this much. I'm gonna lift this much. I'm gonna cut back to this many calories a day. And as I was putting this together last night, I'm like, all right, I got this. Right? Like it's like 16 months. I got plenty of time to develop these new habits. I got out of my chair. I ran to the office. It's a maximum of 13 yards that I had to traverse before the start of the show. And when I got back in the chair, and I can't tell you, last night I was so motivated. I'm like, dude, you have a date. You have a suit. You have an image in your head of like what this is going to look like. And I just went 13 yards maximum and have completely lost my motivation. I'm like, nope, I'm just gonna be fat and out of shape forever. Because if it took that much out of me, I can't imagine what it's gonna be like when I get home today and I go for my 2-mile walk that I've decided I'm gonna try to do multiple days a week. 13 yards and I got winded. I am pathetic.
So you said you had a suit? What's the point of having a suit if you're going to lose weight?
I don't know. I don't have it now. Like I have what I know.
Oh, okay.
Like this is what.
Has it been approved?
Yeah, that was last night's discussion.
Okay, all right.
It's
all right.
So for the record,
because I know how that works.
Yeah, let me tell you how this went. And again, I want to be abundantly clear. I 100% want her to be happy with the day, right? I want her to be happy. Lonzo, you know me. There's no situation in my life where I'm not a go with the flow guy. Like if everybody's happy around me, I'm happy, right? It's got me. It's not that it's got me in trouble. It hasn't. But like I've been told, like you need to be more assertive. Get what you want. If everybody around me is happy, unless they're actively hurting me, I'm happy. I want her to be 100% happy about the day. So she's like, what do you want to wear? I'm like, nope, you tell me. She's like, no, I want to know before I say, I want to know what you want to wear so we can find a compromise. I'm like, pick what you want. She goes, what do you want to wear? I said, honestly, it's likely, it's like 90% going to be on the beach, right? 90% likely it's going to be on the beach down in Florida. So I said, khakis, flip-flops, Hawaiian shirt. And in the spirit of compromise, Lonzo, she looked at me and she went, no. So that was the compromise. She said, what do you want? I was like, flip-flops. It's on the beach. Flip-flops, khaki. I was even going pants, not even shorts. Khaki pants and a Hawaiian shirt. Like subdued. I'm not talking about like the ones I wear here. Like a subdued, kind of neutral color Hawaiian shirt. She goes, no. You're not dressing. Her words exactly. You're not dressing like Charlie Sheen on a wedding day. And I was like, all right, that's fair.
Did you immediately go to Tiger Blood?
Tiger Blood.
Yeah, but I got Tiger Blood,
Hashtag winning. So, of course, I wanted khakis and a Hawaiian shirt. And what did we end up in for me wearing on that day, Lonzo, on the beach?
You're wearing a suit.
A suit.
That's right. I was
not just a suit, a beige suit. Now, don't get me wrong. It looks great.
What?
It looks great.
Yeah,
it's a great look. It's a tan suit. All right.
It's
a tan suit.
That's very 1970s. I mean, you know, when people get married.
It's classic.
Okay.
It is a good look.
It
is a good look. Remember a handful of years ago.
Do we have tails or no tails?
No, not like.
Okay.
No. Like a laid with like a linen dress shirt, not like anything like super starchy, you know. So remember a handful of years
no pirate shirt, no nothing.
Correct.
Okay, all right.
Now, I do want to make this abundantly clear. I have also been told you do whatever you want for the reception, and that's my thing, right? That's my thing. So I got told whatever you want for the reception, I don't care. Which is why I'll be walking into it with a Ric Flair robe because I'm an adult and I can do whatever I want. Except at the wedding. So remember a handful of years ago when there was the controversy, Zoe, because Obama wore a tan suit? Remember that? That's the look. That tan, beige, whatever you want to call it, suit. And it's dope. But yeah, I went from khakis and a Hawaiian shirt to, no, you're like a suit on the beach, which I'm great with. It looks good. I'm going to look great. I just got to drop like 45 pounds because you can't pull off that look as a sturdy fella. Right? If you're a sturdy fella, you got to go dark. Nobody cares about this. Why am I talking about this? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate. I am Rob Brown. The seductive voice you hear coming from the other microphone is, of course, that of Colonel Grudge. Hashtag Dad Kicks, the alpha and the omega of the Fan Upstate. He is the professor of perfection, the sultan of swag, the wizard of wave. We call him the great one. Lonzo is here as well. What up, Zoe?
I'm presently trying to log back into everything since we got our new computer, and I'm struggling.
We got all the new stuff up in her.
Yeah.
I got 3 screens now. I've upgraded.
I am looking at the audio being recorded, and I haven't seen that thing where it goes accordion and then it comes back. So we're looking good there. So that's the most important part. But I'm trying to get into my Twitter now. Facebook had to send me 10,000 verifications before I got in there, and that's fine.
We're good to go, man. We're good to go. We got it.
You got to just bring your laptop over and plug it in. Boom, you done.
Yeah, now I got 3. Like I said, now I got 3 screens. We're high tech now. It's like Star Trek in here. I got all the screens.
You can put yourself on the third screen, so you get. Well, it's already up there, isn't it?
I got me up here.
Yeah. Okay.
I got Twitter and show prep over here.
There we go.
And then I honestly don't know what to do with the extra screen. I don't know what to do down here. What do I do with the whole extra?
Does
screen?
This eliminate your whatever that thing's called?
My tablet?
No,
yeah. I got that too. I got 4. I got 5 screens.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I'm like Captain Kirk, but like less good looking.
I got 6. 7 if you count my phone.
1-upper.
Wow. You know.
Just can't let me be. We got a busy show lined up for you today, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of things that we are going to get to on a whole radio broadcast.
Joe says you're going to look like Steve Harvey in that tan suit.
I don't have that good of a mustache. I wish I did.
You could.
If I
just shave the rest.
No, I got the Joe Dirt white trash mustache. I tried it once. It's bad.
Do you have
I get away with the white trash mustache when I have the beard because I can blend it down. But when I just go mustache, dude, I look like I'm gonna try to sell you discount fireworks on the side of my trailer. It's a bad look.
Which you can buy a lot right now because it's almost July 4th. There's a lot of those trailers up around the area.
Correct. It looks bad.
No offense to those guys.
None at all. Are you kidding me? I will be buying some.
Make your living.
Yeah, I will be buying some. I'm team discount fireworks, 100%. All right, we got a lot of stuff coming up on the radio broadcast today. Ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, your Atlanta Braves are friggin' good right now. Winners of 9 out of the last 10. The only L that they have taken is an L that they got caught at the end of the one of 2 10-game win streaks in Major League Baseball by the Cincinnati Reds. But what did the Bravos do after that? No big deal. Won the next 2 and ended the streak of America's team, the Cincinnati Reds. Since then, the Bravos have been in fuego. How about a 6-2 win last night over the Twins, where the Braves, Lonzo, hit 5 home runs in the first 2 innings of the game? They are white hot right now. And the Braves right now,
they're playing like LSU, aren't they?
They're playing real good. And the Braves right now are in a position that I find interesting. The Bravos could have as many as 7 All-Stars on the NL side this year. That's how good they are right now. And more importantly, I think I can make an argument. that the Braves could have 6 All-Star starters for the NL. Could you imagine 6 players from the same team all starting? Now, I'm going to be real with you. It's not going to happen because there are players that also have arguments from teams with much larger fan bases and fan bases that the MLB is going to push. So they're probably going to get 3. But we'll talk about that coming up later in the show. More importantly, ladies and gentlemen, I have to ask a question, and we're going to come to this later on in the show. But explain to me why it is. Alonzo, you can take a stab at it, though I don't think you're going to have a better answer than anybody else, myself included. Why is it that last night, I told you guys, a lady friend and I we scheduled date night last night, and our date night was to sit down at the kitchen table and to start doing wedding stuff. But Rob, you know what Rob decided to do last night? Rob decided, what a great night to make a little Southern country soul food, you know? So you know what I made for dinner last night, Lonzo? I made mashed taters, asparagus, and deep fried pork chops, right? And crushed it, by the way. And I thought to myself, all right, let's turn on the Atlanta Braves game. They're on TBS. That's a national network. TBS carrying the Bravos. Can't wait. Big time. Opportunity for the Bravos to take 3 in a row against the Twins and set themselves up for a 4-game streak. I am in. So I click on TBS right in time for first pitch. And what does my television tell me?
It's blacked out.
This program on a national network.
You tweeted that out. I saw it.
Yeah, I know, but nobody.
Well, I mean,
we had an opportunity to be real dramatic here.
It's not killing the bit, but that is ridiculous, by the way.
On a national network, yeah. I got blacked out from a game. That is 2.5 hours for me on a weeknight.
So what did they play instead? Matlock or something?
Literally, it was just a screen that said this program is unavailable in your area. If I went to TBS for 2.5 hours last night, and I'm sure TBS is going to be thrilled about this. I went to TBS, and because I kept repeatedly checking, I'm like, maybe this is an error. It's a national network.
You just want it to be there, and so you just keep looking.
Multiple times, I got up and walked away from a conversation about my wedding with my future bride to go check TBS, and multiple times. I don't know if
I would have said that, but
she ain't listening. I'm fine. And of course, none of my lovely listeners are going to tell her I said that.
Of course not.
Multiple times I got up, grabbed the remote, clicked it over to TBS to get a message that said this program's blacked out in your area. So a national network that pays money to have commercials run on a Braves game was blacked out from a market that is 2.5 hours away from Atlanta, Georgia. 2.5 hours away on a weeknight. I'm sorry, MLB. Did you think that I was going to be able to, on a random-ass Tuesday night, pop in the car, drive 2.5 for a Braves game? Did you think that was how it works for everybody outside of the immediate vicinity of Atlanta, Georgia? No. How is it blacked out on a net? Does MLB actively want us to not watch it? Like, are they trying to get us to not watch their games? I don't get it. At a point in time where baseball needs more than ever to be growing their audience, you are blacking out one of the nation's 5 or 6 most popular baseball teams across the entire region on a Tuesday night because people couldn't get to a 7:30 first pitch on a Tuesday night. What is that? So we'll come back to that later in the show. South Carolina jumps way up in a recruiting list for a 5-star 2025 player, and it'd be a big one. We're going to talk about that later in the radio broadcast. We got to talk about Shohei Ohtani. He did something last night that nobody has done since 93. I'm sorry, 1893. So, yeah, we're going to talk about that. We are going to get a little basketball in here on the radio broadcast. And, Lonzo, to continue a conversation that we had yesterday, we are now getting legitimate fight breakdowns from current MMA stars and current stars coaches on the Zuck v. Musk bout. And you better believe I am more fascinated about it today than I was yesterday.
I can't wait to get to it. I heard that someone is training Elon Musk.
Yep. Somebody who trains fighters.
Someone who knows how to do that.
Yeah.
So
But Zuck has another big name saying he has, and I quote, got that dog in him. So we're going to talk about all that later on in the radio broadcast, plus a little Carolina Panther talk, a little Atlanta Falcons talk. I haven't talked a lot of Falcons lately. We got to get to the Dirty Birds. All that and more coming up on the show. My name is Rob Brown. The great one Lonzo's on the ones and twos. We got to take a break, but when we come back, let's talk a little Carolina Panther football, shall we? Because we ended the show yesterday with a rumor that got us all hot and bothered about the Cats. Turns out we may have jumped the gun just a little bit. We'll talk to you about that when we come back. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. This is the Rob Brown Show. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, we got a live read right here. Stay right there. When we come back, we will get into it with y'all. Stay tuned.
And upstate. Currently, it's 74. We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain.
So I finally got all my logins in, but someone moved the camera and I can't, well, we all know who that someone is, and I can't get it adjusted correctly. So it's going to look like that sign was hung crooked. I don't think it was hung crooked. No, considering who hung it, they probably used a level. So yeah, it's, you know, a new struggle begins. Going to have to suggest that we get a nice camera stand with a swivel on it. But until then, someone ripped up my Velcro. Jump the Shark, I believe I heard, Josh, comes from Fonzie jumping the shark, I think. From Happy Days. Because Fonzie had to was going to jump the shark on his motorcycle. Yeah, I don't think she'll allow that either, Stephen.
How is the Dr. Pepper Zero Cherry?
Would y'all like to try one?
I might have to.
I will save one for you. Here's a problem though. Found it at Myrtle Beach. Haven't found it here anywhere.
Say that again?
I found it at Myrtle Beach,
but
I haven't found it in this area. It doesn't mean it's not here.
Yeah. Hang on. I can tell you.
Coming up on a Super Tuesday episode of Offsides with Mark Ryan and Diesel, more blue chip quarterbacks are transferring now than ever before. So what gives? We'll tackle that. We've got the Upstate's favorite athlete bracket.
Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar Cherry
On a Super Tuesday episode of Offsides with Mark Ryan and Diesel right here.
is
Offsides with Mark Ryan. Upstate.
More than the scores. Real sports talk for real sports fans.
The Rob Brown Show.
available at the Greenville Supercenter on Woodruff Road. The Rob Brown Show continues. It is the Fan Upstate. Yesterday, we ended the radio broadcast by telling you that there was a report from ESPN Sal Paolantonio that the Panthers had begun to express interest in wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins. Of course, D-Hop cut by the Cardinals not too long ago. We kind of knew that the writing was on the wall there. I personally think he was getting a little frustrated with Kyler Murray, like most of the Cardinals. Homework clause, still hilarious. Basically, let's call it what it was. It was the Call of Duty clause is what that was.
I still hope my dude is good.
I really do. If that's going to be the legacy you have, you would better like retire and then start competing in COD tournaments or something. Like you better be an E-game superstar if you are letting your NFL career take a hit to play Call of Duty. Don't get me wrong, big Call of Duty guy. But like, come on, dude. Come on. Anyway, D-Hop gets cut from the Cardinals. He has mutually been invested with the New England Patriots. They are still the Vegas odds-on favorite to sign DeAndre Hopkins. And there was a lot of discussion that started yesterday with Sal Paolantonio from ESPN saying that the Panthers and D-Hop had begun to express mutual interest. There may have been the beginnings of a conversation being held between DeAndre Hopkins and the Carolina Panthers, but that has been disputed now. Will Kunkel from Fox Charlotte has jumped into the fold. He said, and I quote, "I'm told there is nothing brewing at this time between the Panthers and DeAndre Hopkins, but as always, the front office has their pulse on the Hopkins market. The biggest hurdle will be the financials as I see it," end quote. Now, let me start by saying this. If the Panthers have one more move to make in free agency, as much as they need another cornerback, as much as I would love to add some safety depth, as much as the conversation has been, go find an edge rusher to pair up with Brian Burns across the defensive line, as much as all those things are legitimate, I'm looking for that number one wide receiver. I don't think there's a more important position that the Panthers need to fill than a star wide receiver at this point for a few reasons. We have mentioned, obviously, multiple times that the Panthers did invest in wide receiver. They brought Adam Thielen down from Minnesota. Adam Thielen is way on the wrong side of 30 at this point. Now, he's not a running back, so it doesn't mean he's done. But I would absolutely see a drop in production out of Adam Thielen for two reasons. Number one, yes, his age. He's gone past that point of no return. There's no getting better for Adam Thielen at this point. Every year will degrade a little bit. But the second reason is, as I have told you a million times, Adam Thielen's value is not in being that elite down the field wide receiver that you're going to toss the 50-yard bomb to and he's going to make a ridiculous play. That's a DeAndre Hopkins. Adam Thielen's value is when you send a DeAndre Hopkins, Adam Thielen curls in underneath that route where a cornerback has vacated to run with the fly route out of a star wide receiver, or the safety is moved over and Thielen drops in behind the linebackers to take advantage of that creative bubble. That is the expertise of one Adam Thielen. And if the Panthers don't have that genuine, legitimate wide receiver threat on the outside that extends the play vertically, Adam Thielen's expertise is to some degree negated. The holes in coverage are not going to be nearly as big, which means he has to be way more precise. And more importantly, it makes precision out of your quarterback that much more important. Bryce Young now has to be pinpoint accurate with the rock. That's not an option anymore. If you can extend defenses vertically, those cushions get a little bigger. Now, all of a sudden, you're a little less worried about Bryce Young making pinpoint throws under pressure. That's all about the learning curve. That's not to say he can't do it. There are quarterbacks that, even at Bryce Young's stature, have made a career on that. Drew Brees is the example, rightfully so, that we all run to talk about. So getting that number one wide receiver to stretch the field vertically is, to me, the next most important move that the Panthers can make. So Kunkel says there's no conversation going on right now between DeAndre Hopkins and the Carolina Panthers. And I get that. It's going to be expensive. There's no doubt about it. DeAndre Hopkins is right now, without a question in my mind, the number one available free agent. It is also going to likely be a bidding war. Why? It's not just that the Patriots are in and the Patriots are willing to spend money. Bill Belichick's on the hot seat right now. I don't care what anybody says. Patriots fans can tell me all they want that he's not. Hoodie's on the hot seat right now. Since the departure of Brady, when Brady took off to go to Tampa, what was the conversation? Was it Brady? Was it Hoodie? Was it a combination? Now we get to find out. Well, Brady went to Tampa and immediately won a Super Bowl. What has Hoodie done since Brady took off? Nothing, right? Nothing. Now, you can blame it on a significant step back. The Patriots got very comfortable for a very long time with being able to spend less offensively because Brady could make guys like Wes Welker, who was very good, but could send Wes Welker to the Pro Bowl over and over. That's how good Tom Brady was. So they were able to kind of decrease the offensive spending, increase the defensive spending, knowing Brady could take guys. That's the mark, to me, that's the mark of a truly great quarterback. How many times have I said that? The mark of a truly great quarterback is he can take an offense that is made up of average to good players and make them look like great to Pro Bowl players. Drew Brees did it in New Orleans. That's my example because that's the one I'm most familiar with. Drew Brees did it for years in New Orleans. Lance Moore was there. What did Lance Moore do after he left Drew Brees? Not much, right? You look at guys like, what was the kid out of Tennessee that was a wide receiver down there? Robert, I forget his last name. But that's kind of the point, right? Brees had a guy down there that he was winging 11, 12 touchdowns a year to, who, when his time with Brees was over, faded into obscurity. Now, you gave Brees some great players, Marcus Colston, and he turned them into perennial Pro Bowlers. Tom Brady was able to take guys that Robert Meacham. I knew I could do it. Robert Meacham. Tom Brady was able to take guys like Wes Welker. I ask this question all the time. Who was the best wide receiver Tom Brady had during his time in New England? Randy Moss? Old Randy Moss? And what did he and Randy Moss do?
They didn't do anything.
They led the league history in touchdowns in a single season between a quarterback and a wide receiver.
Did they win the Super Bowl that year, though?
No, but they, as a 1-2 duo, led the NFL all-time touchdowns between one quarterback and wide receiver in a single season.
I mean, that's awesome and everything, but did they win the Super Bowl?
Right, but only one team can win the Super Bowl.
You're right.
Right?
You're right.
So to say what they did is unimpressive because they didn't win the Super Bowl, I'm going to push back on that. what they did as a wide receiver quarterback tandem was very impressive. The team wasn't
Wait.
but
That's,
they were incredible.
That's supposedly the greatest quarterback of all time. So when he finally had a really good receiver, they didn't win the Super Bowl.
When he finally had a really good receiver, he was on maybe the worst of his Patriots teams. And
I don't know,
close.
dude, the last couple of years, the Patriots were pretty bad.
Brady's Patriots. So that being said, the mark of a great quarterback to me is he elevates good receivers to great. He elevates great receivers to Pro Bowl, right? And I'm not saying BY can't be that guy. I'm saying I don't want to start him that way. Look at our guy Diesel popping by. I'm not saying Hoodie is just Meredith is Penguin, but nobody has seen them in the same room together.
Doesn't his profile pic make you mad though? Because that's just so good. That's a really good pick.
For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, we're live on the stream right now. Facebook.com/TheFanUpstate, Twitter.com/TheFanUpstate, or search and subscribe to The Fan Upstate on YouTube. Diesel Popeye, and has it's a metal picture. Also, by the way, Diesel, how do you not wear aviators all the time? You should do every offsides wearing aviators. That just needs to be your thing now. Nobody in the now. Matt Man over on Rise Guys, he rocks the Ray-Bans, the Wayfarers. Right? He rocks the Ray-Bans, and that's a great look. But Diesel, I think you need to go aviators every day, all day from now on. It's a good look. It's a good look. I can't pull off aviators. I wish I could.
I don't know.
My head's too fat.
Leave them outside the building. You may start a trend, and then everyone's going to try to do it. And, there are some people that should never attempt that.
All right, so Adam Thielen's going to have a drop in production. It's not because of the quarterback. It's because of the offensive skill set he's around. I told you this yesterday. Now, here's why wide receiver is my number one option. Number one, I want BY to have that down the field vertical threat. He just doesn't have it. There is possibility there. Lonzo, there's DJ Chark.
I'm not doing it, man.
Do it.
I am not doing it.
There's DJ Chark who is shown.
Day you get to say, and I like that song, but you're getting stuck in my head.
DJ Chark.
We're gonna have we're gonna end up having him on the show. We're gonna have him on the show, and you're gonna slip, and you're gonna do that.
He played for the Jaguars for a year when I lived there. When he did anything on the field, they played that song on the stadium speakers.
All right.
It ain't nothing he had.
So I was giving you credit for doing it originally, and you.
First
okay.
Off, I don't listen. I think if we took somebody who had never seen an NFL game before, but had one kid at the minimum, and we said DJ Chark, the immediate reaction is do. It just is what it is. That's just what the name is.
I don't think so, but okay.
All right. So DJ Chark has shown potential as that number one down the field wide receiver, but he's also been banged up. So I don't know if he's going to have, after the most recent injury, which was a foot injury, ankle injury specifically, if I recall correctly, I don't know that DJ Chark is going to have that DeAndre Hopkins down the field speed that you need to be that vertical number one. You got to find that guy. Maybe it's Laviska Shenault. Shenault has shown that. He did it against the Saints last year at Carolina.
He showed up one, maybe two games, and then he wasn't used anymore. And you could blame that on.
I think he got dinged up a little bit too.
Yeah, but I'll blame that on coaching.
That's fine too. 100% fair. 100% fine with that. But you don't have that guaranteed guy right now. And if you don't have that guaranteed guy, it does two things. Number one, it does not give BY that. I'm not asking for him to force the ball. I'm saying if D-Hop or whoever is wide receiver one gets that jump, that BY can just throw it down there. The old bleep it, D-Hop down there somewhere method that Kyler Murray took advantage of many times. That makes me feel better. But it does another thing. It opens up the field for Adam Thielen as the wide receiver precision route runner, like Wes Welker was, that Tom Brady took advantage of for so long. And it opens up the field for both Hayden Hurst out of the tight end spot and TMJ, like Marcus Colston was with the Saints, just that inside slant big guy, right? Now I have all four options on the table, including, obviously, occasionally sending in Raheem Blackshear out of the running back spot to be that screen route runner. Now I got every facet of the pass game open. I've got every facet of the pass game open for Bryce Young if I have that down the field guy. But right now you don't, which limits what Thielen can do. It limits what Hurst can do. It limits on the outside what TMJ can do. And I want all of that for BY. Yes, an edge rusher is mucho importante because right now, if I'm lining up against the Carolina Panthers, I'm just running schemes that take advantage of double teaming Brian Burns and letting everybody else go 1v1. And I feel much, much better about it until and unless guys like Frankie Louvu start stepping up. But again, coming out of the 3-4, those are guys that are going to be 2-3 yards off the line. Offensive linemen going to have a little bit more time to kind of gauge where they're coming from versus if I have 2 really good pass rushers on the end spot in a 3-4. Now you've got to account for both those guys and what linebackers are coming from where. That's mucho importante. I think you need more depth because, again, until J.C. Horn shows me that he's not going to get hurt, I got to believe he's going to get hurt. That's kind of been the legacy so far. He's young. I'm hoping I'm wrong. I want him to thrive. I think he's got the talent to be a superstar, but until he plays a whole season, I can't bank on him playing a whole season. Cornerback depth's important, but I think the entire Carolina Panther offense is unlocked if and only if you have a down-the-field dude that stretches defenses vertically, that opens up the field for Thielen, for Hurst, for TMJ, for Shai, for whoever the other 2 or 3 guys are going to be. Those are the ones. And D-Hop's that guy. I know he's going to be expensive, but I would rather have D-Hop and just D-Hop.
All right.
Than the current wide receiver group and another pass rusher.
You know that guy every season that like bursts on the scene and no one saw it coming and is like, whoa, didn't see that. That guy didn't do that last year. Well, maybe that guy is already on the Panthers receiving corps. And maybe the coaching staff believes that. And maybe that's why they don't go out and get that guy. Maybe they believe they have that guy already. And I hope that's the case, and I hope they go after defense. I know they have some money to go after somebody. I still would like to see Clowney there. Or somebody, if there's anyone equal to him or better as a pass rusher out there, I would like to see that.
Here's my thought there. Jadeveon Clowney is a good player, but he's a good player. He's not a great player anymore.
Here's what he is. He is presence. You have to know where he is. You can't go, oh, he's washed up, or you're looking at the sky if you're the quarterback. The thing is, his name helps him above maybe his talent going down a little bit because coaches are going to go, oh, no, that's Clowney over there. Whether he's lost a step or not, every once in a while he might have that burst. But he's always, I don't recall seeing a play on whatever team he's on where he's not in the backfield somewhere on a play.
Jadeveon Clowney, 2022. 20 solo tackles, tied for 56th in the league. 5 assists, tied for 81st in the league. 3 sacks on the season. If I ask you right now what's more important, DeAndre Hopkins and what he adds to the fold offensively, we've read the stats before. They're still impressive, even with Kyler Murray, right? And if I ask you right now, to pick a quarterback for your future starting this year, Bryce Young or Kyler Murray, who's your answer? Bryce Young.
I'm going to go with Bryce Young.
Yeah.
But see, those stats don't point out how many times the dude is in the backfield, how many times he's disruptive. You can be on the other side of it and the quarterback go, oh, no, I got to go that way without him ever getting close to him.
I don't disagree.
And look who was on the other side for Clowney.
I don't disagree. You're not wrong. But that's still 5 assists. That's 5 assisted tackles. That's not, here's what I'm saying. I can't justify, if D-Hop's an option, I don't know if he is, I can't justify not getting, not just the production of DeAndre Hopkins, but the increased production that just having DeAndre Hopkins on the field gives to Thielen, Hurst, TMJ, right? It's not just about what D-Hop puts on the stat sheet and the contributions he makes. It's also about what he does within the offense for the other 3 guys that you want to be involved in the passing game and the security that gives Bryce Young versus a guy that brought me, yes, I'm not disagreeing that Jadeveon Clowney is an impact player. But if you ask me, do I want D-Hop's, just on stats, D-Hop's stats added to the Panthers or 20 solo tackles, 5 assists, 3 sacks, and 1 forced fumble added, for the money that Clowney wants right now and will likely get somewhere, I'm going to take D-Hop just on stats. Forget what he had.
I don't think Hopkins comes there. And you know, I know a joke about the height a lot, but he just played with a short quarterback. I don't think he wants to play with that again. And because of that, I don't think he comes to the Panthers.
I think.
And he will never give that as a reason. but people do think that way.
I don't know if you're wrong. In fact, I can almost say I'm pretty sure you're right. But I also have to say, when we talk about Kyler Murray, it's not just the height. Because the athleticism between Murray and Bryce Young, I'd say pretty equivalent. I might even say Kyler Murray is actually a bit of a better scrambler.
I was going to say, Kyler Murray, those little legs
slippery.
get moved. Yep. Yeah. It's just
like a toddler running away with a cell phone.
Absolutely.
Right? I love that. Best scouting report ever. I would even say Kyler Murray is a little bit more athletic. But if I ask you who's got the better mentality towards the game, I haven't even seen BY, and I'm going to go BY.
Well, yeah, but we just got to go on what everyone else is saying
Sure.
and look at what he did in college. So we don't know what he's going to do in the NFL.
Here's what I'll say. There's one thing, there's a lot of things I give Nick Saban credit for. One of the things I give Saban credit for, he does not over-exaggerate his players. He tells you exactly. And the fact that Saban went on repeatedly to say he's the smartest quarterback, he's the most cerebral quarterback I've ever coached, considering some of the guys that he's coached, that's the highest of compliments. So I'm going to lean BY. So I think D-Hop can look at it that way. Now, I don't think DeAndre Hopkins is coming to Carolina. Part of the reason why, I think Carolina screwed the pooch by not jumping into that conversation the second he got let go. I think they let the Patriots jump out front of them, and I think that was a mistake. So if I get Clowney or nothing, yeah, I'll take Jadeveon Clowney. But if I get Clowney or D-Hop, I'm taking D-Hop. We got to take a break. We'll come back. Your thoughts, welcome. 71307 is the text line. You can text us. Start your text with FAN. We'll read them on the air. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
I got to bring up the text line because I forgot to.
I'm Matt Pauley with your Sports Flash on the Fan Upstate. The final polls.
Guys, I have an extra screen on my computer now, and I am trying to figure out how to optimize all of this for efficiency's sake. And for those of you who don't know me personally, I am hot garbage when it comes to organization, just as a whole. Jamie Tart, dude, Ted Lasso, so good, man. If you ever watched Ted Lasso, yeah, go back and watch it. Hudson, should we pursue Hopkins, Clowney, both, and neither? Both. I just don't know that you're going to have the money for both. You're in a good cap position right now, but it's still going to be expensive. So if you ask me to pick an or, Hop's the way to go. The only fear that I have is that if you go all in on D-Hop and you don't make Jadeveon Clowney the priority, somebody else might snag him, and then you end up with neither, and that concerns me a little bit. Trey says, I want both Clowney and Hopkins. Yeah, no, so do I. The correct answer is both. I just don't know if both is a possibility. Hudson said, personally, I want D-Hop, but we could use more help on the defense, and he can play in a 3-4-4-3 hybrid system. I talk about Clowney. Yeah, no, I don't disagree. But again, would you say, because here's the thing. Clowney's a pass rusher. Clowney is not a great run stuffer. He's a capable run stuffer, but not a great run stuffer. He's a pass rusher. And a defensive end in a 3-4 kind of needs to be a better run stuffer than pass rusher. You need a guy who can stuff the run in a 3-4, or at least be very good at eating up blocks to allow the second level to get there. That's kind of the point of the 3-4. So Clowney fits any defense you want to play. I just don't know if he's at his best in a 3-4. That's just my opinion.
TIX.com for tickets. Join us this Saturday night at 7 p.m. and make your Saturday triumphant.
Baseball is in full swing. The free Odyssey app lets you listen to local coverage for the team you love. Live stream your favorite sports radio station or jump back and listen to the best segments on demand.
Don't forget, we talk to the manager every Tuesday at 2 p.m.
Don't listen to some guy from the other side of the country tell you about your team. Live conversations for your local team. No matter where you are, your season, your Odyssey. Get in the game and download the free Odyssey app today.
This is an important notice to consumers facing $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt. You may not be required to pay it all back because there are special programs now in effect that will significantly reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. These programs, which the credit card companies like to keep secret, exist to aid American consumers struggling with overwhelming credit card debt by offering tremendous savings and real debt relief. Accredited Debt Relief has established a special hotline for you to call and learn what savings you qualify for. They've helped qualify consumers with over $1 billion in debt and are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. So don't wait. Get the relief you need during these hard economic times. For this free information, call the Accredited Debt Relief Hotline now. Call 800-330-2900. 800-330-2900. That's 800-330-2900.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain. So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
I think my battery's dead.
With free battery testing and charging, AutoZone is here to help. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
What if I need new one?
We have the right batteries right here at America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone.
And what if I don't know how to
So, Steven, here, all right. I know you've asked a bunch of times, and I absolutely want to play it for you. Here is the issue that we have with playing it on the stream. The issue we have with playing it on the stream is that there is background music to it that we do not know is stream approved. And if we get another copyright strike, we could be in a little bit of hot water on YouTube. So that's the problem that we have and the reason we haven't played it yet. We're still thinking about that. Texas says, Rob, why not bring in both Clowney and D-Hop? Look, if you can, great. Right? If you can, great. It doesn't mean you can't. I think you've got a couple of things working against you. You're in a decent salary cap position, but you don't have unlimited money. And D-Hop is going to eat up a solid chunk of it, even if you spread it out. That being said, salary cap magic is real, right? The Saints were in trouble this offseason. They were way over the cap. Turns out the Saints are now like the 10th best team in terms of cap space available. A great GM can be a wizard. Granted, a lot of it's kicking the can down the road, but if the playoff window's open, and I do believe with future Hall of Famer and all-time elite quarterback Derek Carr under center, I absolutely do believe that the Saints window is still open. Just a crack, but it is open. So they are kicking the can down the road, and there's going to be a reaping at some point in New Orleans that they're going to have to rebuild for 2 or 3 years with a bad team. But it's worth it if the window's open. The question mark for me is, do you believe that Carolina's window is open right now? And the answer for me is, until Derek Carr proves that he's that guy and it's New Orleans division, because it ain't Tampa's, and I don't think until Atlanta tells me who their QB is, it's Atlanta. I think it's absolutely a toss-up between New Orleans and Carolina, right? Absolutely a toss-up. So if you believe the window's open now, maybe you do go all in. Maybe you do. But I think right now you got to make a choice. And I think right now making a choice, I got to go wide receiver, because what is the priority for year one if you're the Carolina Panthers? The development of Bryce Young. That's priority number one. Agree with that, Lonzo?
Yes.
Yeah. The development of BY is your number one priority this year. I will worry about everything else once we make him a star. What helps make him a star? An edge rusher or a top flight wide receiver on the outside? You know the answer. So do I. Let's take a break. Hour number 2. Want to get into some NCAA stuff. There was a big time, announcement, press release, whatever you want to call it, sent down from the NCAA yesterday. And then one of the nation's most well-known sports talk writers decided he was going to go full Thor with Mjolnir on the NCAA in a column he wrote yesterday. And I want to break it all down. I think you'll find it very interesting. I know Lonzo will, because it's got massive NIL implications. We'll talk about that coming up in the next hour of the Rob Brown Show. Rob, Lonzo, and you. This is the Fan Upstate. Saints play with the salary cap off as usual. Hey, man, I'm telling you, the most important person in any organization is the general manager. It 100% is. That only happens because Mickey Loomis has been a wizard with the cap. That is why when Terry Fontenot got hired as the Falcons GM, I told you I think Atlanta's on the way up because Terry Fontenot studied under Mickey Loomis for a long time. He knows the game. A good GM can make or break you.
There's a spot on here that's a minute 19. And
What spot is it?
Yeah, I can't say. Yeah.
That seems.
I am concerned about it because that's odd.
Is it like offset by 2 10-seconds somewhere else?
No, something should not be a minute.
A minute 19?
Yeah, it's not.
You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
The 4th of July. Dad was always Mom would prepare.
Interesting question just proposed on Twitter. What popular movie franchise is dead? My answer was Pirates of the Caribbean.
Agreed.
Today is November 21st, 2022 for Skechers USA. Titled Body Slayton Washables Clothes. 60 seconds. ISKI code BSWCL02-60RRH. Full mix with Tupac.
Told you it didn't look right. That's a corporate thing.
How do you not throw your shoes in the washing machine when they get dirty? I mean, come on. Your shoes are touching the filthy ground all day long. Gross. But with Skechers, you can. Because most Skechers are machine washable. That's right. Skechers are specially made so you can toss them.
Hopefully I'm going to get in trouble for editing a corporate thing, but I just did. So that won't happen again. I should have did that in the first place.
You're the EP, buddy.
Yeah,
Do what you got to do.
Men, women, and kids. So when your kids get their shoes dirty, and we know they will, just wash them. Brilliant. And even our latest technology, new hands-free Skechers slip-ins are washable. You just step right in and go without bending down or even touching your shoes.
So I couldn't stop the spot because it needed, well, I'm looking for a text or email and haven't got one yet. Not my fault, but you know.
On your radio at 97.7 FM, 1330 AM, Greenville, 97.1 FM, 950 AM, Spartanburg.
Listen on your phone, download the Odyssey app, and search The Fan Upstate.
There's a whole lot more to know about sound if you really want to go into the subject.
Your smart speaker. Just say play 97 The Fan Upstate. On your HD radio at WFBC HD3. Just one more time. And on your computer at
TheFanUpstate.com.
The Rob Brown Show, now 19.
You will only be able to remember Dylan Brooks in his last series with the Memphis Grizzlies because he will no longer be with the Memphis Grizzlies. And according to the report, Brooks' showing in the Grizzlies' first-round series was a, quote, breaking point. And the Grizz have said that they will not be bringing back Dylan Brooks, quote, under any circumstances, end quote. Which means that the last scene of Dylan Brooks as a Memphis Grizzly is going to be walking away from the arena where LeBron James just kicked his ass. You know, the guy he doesn't respect because, quote, he's old, end quote. The last scene of Dillon Brooks as a Memphis Grizzly we're going to see is him walking out from the arena and wearing a big necklace that said DB for Dillon Brooks or...
Same great show.
Or...
Only on the Fan Upstate.
Tried leaving the space there, but it didn't work. So made it sound like, I just didn't have it.
No, I think it's perfect.
Yeah.
Our numero dos of the Rob Brown Show starts now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So good to have you along for the ride. Your opportunity to get on the show is now. How do I do that, Rob? Well, I'm glad you asked. Hypothetical listener I made up for this exact situation. It's very simple to do so. The first way you do it is to call the radio broadcast and go on the air. 844-FAN phone, 844-FANFONE. That's 844-326-3663. The second option is for you to text the radio broadcast because we live in the future. 71307 is the number if you want to shoot us a text. 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N, and we will read them on the air. Start it with FAN. Don't forget, because if you don't start it with FAN, there's like an 82% chance I'm not going to see it. So 71307, start it with FAN. The third option is for you to tweet the radio broadcast. If you are a Twitterer, you can tweet me at The Rob Brown Show, at The Rob Brown Show. You can tweet the great one at Lonzo on Word, at Lonzo on Word. And you can tweet all of us collectively at The Fan Upstate. You can also join the live stream. Hey, look at that, Zoe. I don't mean to point anything out. And as soon as I say it, it starts dropping. But we are sitting on well above our weekly average right now. Why? Because you people on the stream are amazing. And listen, if you're sitting in an office this morning, you're sitting at the house, you're like, I'm tired of the debate. Like yesterday, when a morning show spent a good 22 minutes on whose career is better, LeBron or Tom Brady, because that's just where they are. You can go to facebook.com/thefanupstate. You can go to twitter.com/thefanupstate. Or, ladies and gentlemen, you can go to YouTube and search The Fan Upstate, or Twitch and search The Rob Brown Show and watch the stream live. Go behind the scenes. You can interact with both the great one and myself during breaks, as well as the rest of the Rob Brown Show armada. It's a television show that's far more handsome than your average television show. We're also humble as well. So there's all the ways that you can participate in the radio broadcast. All right. Let's get look at my man Matthew popping up on the stream. He said, love listening while mowing the rough in the fairways. What course you at, Matthew? I'll come out and swing the sticks a little bit. I still got to get Lonzo out golfing with me. He said he's willing to do it. We got to get out and play 18. Tell me where you're at, big dog. I want to come see your handiwork in person. All right. Let's get a couple of things in here. The National Collegiate Athletics Association is kind of in an interesting spot. Over the past couple of weeks, we have seen high-level people of all brands, conferences, schools, making their way to Washington, D.C. to discuss with legislators exactly how it is that they can try to get NIL under control. They have been asking for the word that has become the buzzword of choice for these people, guardrails, when it comes to NIL. This has been a process that has been going on for some time. Welp, Yesterday, the NCAA's national office informed member schools that some methods that schools have started using, this comes from ESPN, to get more directly involved in helping their athletes make money from name, image, and likeness deals are violations of the association's rules. Wait a minute! I was under the impression that it was just chaos and anarchy in the streets. Schools could just do whatever they wanted. There were no guardrails. It's pandemonium. Dogs and cats living together. New NCAA guidelines directly conflict with some state laws that are already in effect or will go into effect by the end of the summer, setting up a potential clash that will once again test the association's legal ability to enforce its rules. Dan Murphy of ESPN wrote those words and these. He said in a letter sent to schools Tuesday afternoon, Stan Wilcox, the NCAA Executive Vice President of Regulatory Affairs, wrote that even if state laws allow for some specific types of NIL activities, schools could be punished by the NCAA for pursuing them. The letter said, and I quote, "The association has been clear and maintains that schools must adhere to NCAA legislation or policy, even when it conflicts with permissive state laws." In other words, if a state law permits certain institutional action and NCAA legislation prohibits the same action, institutions must follow NCAA legislation. Yes. That's how it works. Like I other than the NCAA said something, I don't understand how this is news. That's just how it works. And
no, but that is the news. The NCAA said something.
Okay, that's actually really fair. That's actually really fair. The NCAA has basically been leaning on Nick Saban, Shane Beamer, Don Staley, the Southeastern Conference, the Atlantic Coast Conference, etc., to just repeatedly ask Washington, D.C. for guardrails. Now, as I have pointed out many times, they ask for guardrails and then they provide no input as to what those should look like, or at least not publicly so. If I came to Lonzo and I said, Lonzo, I need you to make the show better, Lonzo would, well, Lonzo wouldn't because Lonzo's just full of grand ideas, but I would expect that Lonzo would look at me and go, cool, sure. How would you like me to do that? What? Now, that's not to say I have to give Lonzo exactly what I want because then I would just do it, but it's more along the lines of, what are your rough ideas for making the show better? How would you suggest we make the show better? And then I'll start to fill in the gaps in that as the person who has the actual power and authority over this show. That has been my gripe from the beginning is...
Or I just say, the boss says it's all right. It's all right. Thank you, boss.
You've had all these people go to DC and say, we'd like guardrails, please. And my question has been, like what? Like, what do you want? Now the NCAA is coming out and saying, wait a minute, hold up. We do have guardrails. We do have guidelines of what is prohibited and what is not prohibited. And there is a specific clash in question right this second. And that specific clash that is in question right now is going on in the state of Texas. In recent months, several states have passed laws that allow for fundraising groups that are legally separate, yet closely partnered with universities to start paying athletes for NIL endorsements. This has been the conversation the whole time. Collectives can work hand in hand with schools. The only thing the schools can't do is actively get and distribute the money, but they can be hand in hand with the collectives to provide their input. You can do this, you can't do that. And a lot of that has come because the NCAA has some regulations, but not overall regulations. They have left it up to the states. Well, the state of Texas, for example.
So this is like the pirate code.
Kind of. There are more guidelines than actual rules. That's a B- Barbosa. Like a B- Barbosa.
It works, though. It works.
You got the context.
Yeah.
Texas has a law set to go into effect this weekend, which is partially the reason the NCAA came up with this announcement earlier today, that would allow fundraising groups such as the biggest NIL collective for UT, the Longhorn Foundation, or the biggest NIL collective for Texas A&M, the 12th Man Foundation. I was going to say the 12th Moundation, but that's me being bad at my job.
I heard 12th Mount, and I don't know what that. Well, anyway.
I got jokes. I'll keep them off the radio. The 12th Mound Foundation. Oh, my God, I did it again. The 12th Man Foundation, dummy.
12 Mans.
Which support the athletic departments at Texas and Texas A&M, respectively, to raise money for NIL deals. Similar laws have been passed in Arkansas and Oklahoma, amongst others. And this new law would allow schools to provide perks to fans who donate to the NIL fund. So it goes like this. The University of Texas cannot collect NIL funds, and it cannot distribute NIL funds. That has to be done through the collectives. But with this new law in effect in Texas, what it would allow the school to do is to create perks that they give to these NIL collectives that the NIL collectives could then distribute. For instance, Lonzo, when you go to purchase your new University of Texas season tickets, because you're pumped, you got the SEC coming to town, right? When you go to purchase that, the University of Texas can tell the Longhorn Foundation, hey, yo, if anybody gives, let's say, $20,000 to the NIL collective, their season tickets can now be 50-yard line Longhorn side, right? We will enhance their season tickets if they donate to your collective. So you tell us that John J. Johnson, noted Longhorn alumni fan and booster, has contributed.
Triple J.
Old Triple J. Has contributed X $1,000 to the Longhorn Foundation, specifically earmarked for NIL money. You let us know he's done that. And then when we sell our season tickets to John J. Johnson, old Triple J, we're going to make sure that his season tickets are upgraded. Well, here's the thing. That is against the guidelines already in place by the NCAA. You can't do that as the school. Why? Because that is getting indirectly involved with NIL money.
So the school was unaware of what the rules were.
No, I think the school is aware of what the rules are. Here's the thing. What the hell is the NCAA going to do about it, right? Now, this reverts back to, we told you earlier in the week that LSU vacated a bunch of wins. It has basically killed Les Miles' eligibility for the NCAA Football Hall of Fame. Well, we found some results from a punishment that was handed down based on some violations committed by the Louisiana State University not too long ago. And we found out that the NCAA effectively disciplinary panel, they have a big, long, full name that I don't care to remember, accepted as a punishment LSU electing to take a postseason ban during the COVID year of 2020. Now, here's what's interesting about that. When LSU elected that they were going to go ahead and take the postseason ban as a punishment for the violations that they had committed, by the point that LSU announced that they were going to take that ban, LSU's football team was currently sitting at, if I recall correctly, 3-3 or 2-3. They were not good that year. So they took a postseason ban, which meant that at the very worst, Alonzo, they were going to miss out on like the Liberty Bowl, the Independence Bowl. Is that a punishment? Like, is that really a punishment? Uh-oh, you can't participate in the Holiday Bowl. Uh-oh.
I'm sure there was much winking going on while that was. You can't.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. No. We're gonna. Oh, sorry, I lied, Lonzo. They were 3-5, which means that they had one more loss available to be 500 and bowl eligible that year. 2 more losses, they were not eligible for a bowl game anyway. So the NCAA accepted that as a punishment. They said something to the tune of, hey, well, they punished themselves, and that shows us that they're acting in good faith. So we're good. Despite, at the time, very large NCAA infractions.
Don't you wish that worked in real business? Yeah, I know I messed up, boss. I already, I put my hand up and I smacked it really hard. So, I mean, it hurt.
Yeah, hey, boss.
I want you to know it hurt. So I've already been punished. So,
I feel really, really bad about that thing that I did that I wasn't supposed to do. And so I'm going to suspend myself from working overtime this week. I'm just going to, you know what? It's a sacrifice that I accept to show my responsibility. I will not work overtime this week. That's, and then the boss goes, yeah, that's fair. No, that's bad, man. That's bad. So you also got to keep in mind, because LSU's football program is out there, but the LSU basketball program got in hot water too, because you'll remember at the time they had a coach named Will Wade. Will Wade is now at McNeese State. Why? Because Will Wade got caught on a freaking FBI wiretap being quoted as saying that his program made and I am directly quoting an FBI wiretap here, made a, quote, strong ass offer, end quote, of money. This was 2019. This was before. First off, it's still not allowed today.
How much
NIL.
further up is that? A strong offer, then you got, how's that?
You got like an offer. I'd say then you got an okay offer, right? Then you got a good offer. Then you got a great offer. Then you got a strong offer. Then you got a strong ass offer. Then you got a bleeping strong offer. That's the ranking. He got quoted.
Why is he in trouble? Because he didn't go for the bleeping. I mean, so he.
Because it turns out, this may shock some of you, but schools can't offer students money. Even today, they can't do it. So Will Wade got busted up on an FBI wiretap, admitting that he made a strong-ass offer of financial incentives to a guy. And what ended up happening with LSU's basketball program? They took a couple of scholarship offers. Will Wade got fired, I think, 2 seasons later.
I'm sure he's the only guy in college sports who's doing that. Just one guy, one bad apple.
But here's the thing. He's the only one that's got caught on an FBI wire. We are talking like dumb, over-the-top action movie stuff here, right? Hey, Will, could you tell me about that offer and say it into the flower on my suit jacket, please?
All right, so if you are
speak into the flower,
this is another reason why you need to watch on the stream on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. You can see Rob grabbing the wire.
Oh, it's dramatic acting.
Yeah, it was very good.
Yeah, and the Emmy goes too. So, no, Oscar, right? What's an Emmy? Emmy's movies, right?
Emmy's TV.
Emmy's TV.
Yeah.
Oscars are movies?
Oscars are for movies that no one watches.
I'd say this qualifies for an Emmy, though, right? Like, we should be nominated. We should win this year's South Carolina Broadcaster Sports Talks Radio Show of the Year and Emmy for Best Dramatic Acting in a TV show.
There are sports Emmys, but we
should get one after that.
Yeah, only national shows I think are eligible for that.
Well, I nailed it. Anyway, nothing happened. Here's the point that we're driving at here. The NCAA already has NIL guidelines. The NCAA, is terrified to enforce them. They are a beast with no teeth. They are afraid to enforce them. Why are they afraid to enforce them? What has been the massive discussion over really the past couple of years? Why the hell don't the Big Ten, the SEC, the ACC, the Big 12, and the Pac-12 just leave the NCAA, even if it's just for football? Just leave the NCAA, create their own organization amongst themselves and play football there, and that way they don't have to worry about the NCAA and all of the red tape that comes along with it. Well, the answer is because there's a whole new branch of administration that they have to run in order to organize all of that. And on top of that, if they leave the NCAA in football, the NCAA may just dissolve itself or be forced into dissolving itself, in which case things like March Madness goes away. The schools don't want to organize the track and field national championships when the NCAA can do all that. But if the NCAA loses football, so you're kind of stuck in this spot. Here's the thing. If the NCAA does step in and the NCAA does start bringing down the hammer on the schools that commit violations of guidelines that are not already, they have been in place for a minute. If the NCAA starts bringing the hammer down on schools that commit NCAA violations that are Power 5 high-level schools, they're afraid they're going to leave, right? They're afraid they're going to leave. And keep in mind, participation in the NCAA, membership in the NCAA is effectively voluntary. Schools can leave the NCAA whenever the hell they want. Of course, they can't participate in NCAA organized activities, which is right now football. So it's kind of hit or miss. But if they start bringing the hammer down on violations that, I'm air quoting this, every school is doing right now, then at that point, there is incentive for the schools to leave. It's kind of like when you have that bro who gets into a relationship, and we all know what whoosh means when your bro's in a relationship, dude's whipped, right? And all of a sudden, he starts allowing his girl to get away with whatever she wants to do. Why? Because he's afraid she's gonna leave. He's afraid she's gonna leave. That's the NCAA. They don't want to look at LSU and bring the hammer down on guidelines that were caught, that a coach was caught violating by his own admission on an FBI wiretap, which, by the way, for the record, just for the funsies, because I went and read this whole thing this morning. When the wiretap came out, the NCAA decided not to request, obtain, and listen to an actual copy of it. They were like, oh, that was gathered by law enforcement, not by our investigative arm, so we're not going to consider it as evidence. All they basically did, according to Dan Wetzel of Yahoo Sports, was to read a transcript that Yahoo Sports got because Yahoo Sports did go get the wiretap.
You know why you do that? You know why you say, yeah, I don't want that? Because they may say, oh, and we have this and this and this and this, and they start bringing in tapes. Physical tapes. They cut real tapes and just put them down on the desk.
Plausible deniability. That's the word, right? I don't think Lons is wrong. I think that's actually part and parcel of it. So the point is the NCAA is afraid to enact punishments based on the guidelines that are already in place, the guardrails that are already in place, because they don't want to push the Power 5 schools who are already very close to the line, very close up to the line. They don't want to push those schools too hard for fear that Texas goes, you know what? Bleep this. We're out. Hey, what do you say, OU? What do you say, Mizzou, Arky? What do you say we all get out at the same time? And now there's just the SEC goes, yeah, dude, that's fine. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and dissolve ourselves. Not dissolve ourselves as a conference, but we're going to dissolve our membership in the NCAA. It is voluntary, right? So that's why the NCAA won't push back. And here's the thing. I'm kind of tired of hearing people who are voluntary members of the NCAA, Alabama, begging for guardrails when there are already some in place, but the member institutions have created an environment where the governing body of said voluntary member institution either can't or won't do anything to bring down discipline on those who violate the guidelines and the guardrails. Well, then what's the point? Texas said, why the bleep is the FBI involving themselves in college sport? Don't you all have something better to do? Useless blanks. The answer is because there may have been federal money laundering crimes involved in that. Getting well weight on tape was just a side bonus. Let's take a break. We'll come back, talk a little baseball on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate.
Here's the Carolinas' most trusted forecast on the Fan Upstate. Sunny skies today, high of 90. Tonight, mostly clear, low near 68. Thursday, sunny, high of 91.
I can't unmute us. You can.
Huh?
800-873-7171. 800-873-7171.
Sinking foundation can cause you to make quick decisions that could be wrong. Travis Benson, owner of CNT Foundations.
Many of our clients come to us after a bad experience with another company. From high-pressure sales techniques to misinformation, we've heard it all. If you're facing foundation problems, take a breath and take time to get a second opinion. We offer free estimates and reliable advice.
Call 864-581-3341. CNT Foundations, your foundation experts.
Being a baseball play-by-play broadcaster demands a blend of learned mechanics, intense preparation, and a calm sense of entertainment. How hard is it to do this job? Let's talk to the ones who do it. This is Matt Spiegel. My new podcast, The PvP, Voices of Baseball, will bring those conversations to you as the best working and former broadcasters tell you why.
Oh, man, you're getting curved there.
They do it.
Oh,
New
stop.
episodes come every Thursday all summer long. Follow The PvP, Voices of Baseball, on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your podcast.
Still getting curved.
Sponsored by Corley Plumbing, Air and Electric.
Well, maybe not.
At Corley Plumbing, Air and Electric, we offer flexible scheduling to meet your needs. Call Corley Plumbing, Air and Electric today.
Well, this
Skip the
is
line and book online.
excruciating.
CorleyPro.com. That's CorleyPro.com.
If you just pulled in, you wouldn't have this problem.
Mark Ryan tells it like it is.
Coming up on a Super Tuesday episode of Offsides with Mark Ryan and Diesel, more blue chip quarterbacks are transferring now than ever before. So what gives? We'll tackle that. We've got the Upstate's favorite athlete bracket, Can We Stop, and so much more, all on a Super Tuesday episode of Offsides with Mark, Ryan, and Diesel right here on the Fan Upstate.
Number one for real afternoon sports talk.
Offsides with Mark Ryan.
3 to 7 on the Fan.
Upstate.
Get in the game on the front.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is the Fan Upstate, ladies and gentlemen. I was very mad last night. I'm in about 3 different baseball stories here in this segment real quick. I was very mad last night because I sat down. No, I didn't. I stood in the kitchen. I was cooking. I made fried pork chops last night. They were delightful. A lady friend and I decided we got to start dropping LBs for the old wedding in a year and a half or whenever it's going to be. We might as well start tomorrow. So let's do fried pork chops.
How do you know when they're done?
Fried pork chops? You just learn it from doing it.
Okay.
Right? Like a fried, if you go fried pork chops, now I go about half the
I have to ask my wife, is this done? Because I can't, I have a little bit of problem with that.
So the first thing is, Zoe, I highly suggest a meat thermometer. Highly suggest a meat thermometer. I also highly suggest that you spend good money on a good meat thermometer. You want that right. Because especially with a pork chop, which is a very tender cut of meat.
Because if you don't, you might end up in the hospital for a week and not be able to eat.
Sucks.
You could.
Sucks.
Yeah.
I would hate to experience that. It sounds miserable. With like a pork chop's very tender. If you like, you want your pork chops about 150, 155. And if you go over that, you end up making the pork chops too chewy. It takes the enjoyability out of them. So you spend the money on a good meat thermometer that you can pull them out of the oil, test it, make sure it's right there on that line. So first off, tenderize your chop. You want that thing thin, dude. Like thin, like 1/4 to 1/2 inch at most. And you want to
So these are not bone in. Okay.
No, I mean, you can do bone in, but I wouldn't deep fry bone in. I'd
All
just
right.
go ahead and cut them up.
I was thinking bone in because without bone in, I mean, non-bone in, whatever that is.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
Boneless.
It's boneless. Yes. Wow. Wow.
So tenderize them real good. Here's what I do.
I quit, by the way.
Here's what you do. First off, here's the secret. This is the secret a lot of people miss. You got to dip them in the flour first, right? So first off, you pat the pork chops dry. Then you dip them in the flour. But here's what I do. Unload Italian seasoning into the flour, not into the breadcrumbs, into the flour. That way it gets onto the meat itself. So you give it you pat it dry. You coat it in flour and Italian seasoning. You egg wash it after you put the flour on it, not before. You egg wash it after you put the flour on it. Then you go breadcrumbs and you put the salt and pepper. And if you want a little more seasoning, you can season into the breadcrumbs. You do that. You coat it. Oh, you gotta like make sure it's coated in the breadcrumbs. You go enough oil in a frying pan to cover up half of that pork chop. You don't want to submerge them because they're going to float and you're going to get uneven. You want it to sit on the bottom but still fry. You do it about legit tops 45 to 50 seconds. You flip it over 45, 50 seconds. You check it. It should be about done at that point. It's a flash fry. And then you're good. That's the way to go. We did that. We did some loaded mashed taters with butter melted in, a little sour cream across the top. And then I do asparagus in the air fryer. But what you do is you drench the asparagus in extra virgin olive oil. You get them real coated. Then you go salt, pepper, garlic powder, right? And then after you do salt, pepper, garlic powder, really wash them in there good. You go about 7 minutes at 400 in the air fryer. It gives them really crisp. But at the last 30 seconds, and here's where I'm gonna get you. The last 30 seconds, you pull them out of the air fryer, you sprinkle some Parmesan cheese across the top, you stick it back in there, let that cheese melt down into the asparagus. Mwah, magnifique. That's what we did for dinner last night. Phenomenal.
It sounds amazing.
It's
but
incredible.
There's a few things you could have taken out of that to help you with the weight loss.
Last night was our
Okay. All right.
It was like death row last meal, right? Like I'm eating nothing but chicken breast till December. We're going last meal. Texture says I'm shooting for like 140 on my chops. That's fine. Like I've seen some people, you're going to end up with your chops being a little more pink. I'm good with that. The lady friend likes there's a little bit more. Like I'm a medium rare at the most guy. She's like well done, or well, I should say like between medium well and well. So I go a little bit longer for her, but 140 is fine. It's going to give you a little bit of pink left in the middle of the pork chop, a little bit more moist. I like that. Some people don't. It's really up to you. That's why I keep it that 150, 155 range. Anyway, as I'm standing there getting my flash fried pork chops ready, I turn on TBS. I'm really excited. The Braves are playing game 3 in a 4-gamer against the Twins at home. And I'm thinking to myself, hey, the Bravos offense is awake, baby. Bleep you, Jobu. I do it myself. 5 dingers in the first 2 innings. I know that because my phone was beeping and telling me I couldn't watch it on TV. It was blanked out on TBS, a national network. Couldn't watch it at the house. Now, a texter said, Rob, that's because it's being broadcasted on Bally Sports, a team that the Braves have a contract with to provide local coverage. And I get that. I understand that. You should not sign contracts like that. You should sign a contract that says if a national network picks up a game, and you can even say there's a limit, like 3 games a month, a national network decides to pick up ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, TBS on a weeknight. If a national network wants to pick up a game, and you can even put a limit, 50 is a lot, 20 games a year. That game should be available on a national network because I don't have, and I'm not paying, respectfully, Bally Sports. I'm also certainly not doing when we're watching Bally networks like the one in Arizona go under, right? Arizona Diamondbacks fans watch the Bally Sports regional stuff there under the Diamond Sports, whatever it's called, go under. So they're now having to pay MLB Net to be able to watch Diamondbacks games. It is obnoxious that I got the message when I tuned into a national network to watch a Braves game last night that I got a message that said this program is blacked out in your area. Sorry, this program is unavailable in your area, which means MLB was like, nah, dog, you want it, you pay for Bally Sports. Ugh, don't love that. Don't love that. Infuriating. These types of contracts make it harder to watch baseball, right? Don't you want it to be easier? Baseball is not dying the way that a lot of people want you to believe that it is. The numbers are fine. They're fine, but they're not growing either. And this is where you bump into a problem, right? It is Tuesday night. I'm a Braves fan. I don't have a kid, but if I had a kid and my life was much more expensive with much less free time, and I wanted to sit down with my kid and watch a Braves game, I couldn't do it last night unless I was going to stream the game illegally. Not that Rob Brown would do that. But that's the option, right? Like, that's the option. It seems to me you would want to make it easier, not more difficult, to watch games. I get you want to try to fill up the stadium. And the teams want to fill up the stadium. They get the direct money from the stadium being full. I get that. But what's better for baseball? The Braves play a Tuesday nighter, game 3. We're able to watch it in Greenville, South Carolina, 2.5 hours away from the Battery on a Tuesday night. I can't be there. I just can't. Or no baseball for you. Which one of those is better? Now, ladies and gentlemen, we'll get away from that. Because at the end of the day, I'm an old man yelling at a cloud. MLB's not going to change anything unless, not yet. Not yet. Texture says, if I become president one day, I will immediately ban exclusive contracts for sports. I think it's a terrible idea. I think it's a terrible idea. I really do. I get why some organizations want to do it, but I think it's a terrible idea. Now, there's a lot of Braves games that I get the premise, right? National Network is not picking up every single Braves regular season game. To have an exclusive dedicated, but here's the thing. If you're Major League Baseball, why not just, you have the capability, you're showing it already with the Arizona Diamondbacks. If you're MLB, why not just have all the games available on the MLB network, on an MLB TV app? They already are for the most part. So why not just make it all the way across the board? You then have sole rights to advertising rates on that stream. And I'll tell you right now, I'm not paying for Bally Sports. But if I got an MLB.TV subscription that was not $1,000 a year, that I could watch every team, every game, all at the same time, you got a much better chance of separating me from my money, right? I don't have that right now. A lot of games aren't available on MLB TV because they're on Bally Sports. Can't have them all. If I could have them all, yeah, I'm absolutely in. It's just a dumb way to do things. All right. Let's get to some Braves real quick. The Bravos once again last night got it done. A 6-2 win over the Minnesota Twins. That is 3 in a row. It also means that the Bravos have won 9 of their last 10. The only one that they have dropped in the last 10 was the opening game in a series against the Cincinnati Reds, who at the time were on a, 12-game win streak before the Braves finally shut it down. There have been 2 teams in MLB so far this year that have put together a 10-game win streak. The Tampa Bay Rays in the beginning of the season when they were the most white-hot out-of-the-gate team in MLB history, and the Cincinnati Reds, who went on the most improbable 10-game win streak. Got to a dozen before the Braves shut it down. That's the only loss. After that, the Braves won the next 2 against Cincinnati. They have now run the first 3 against the Twins. So the Braves are 52-27. They're now 6.5 games up on the Mets. They're 9-1 in their last 10. And if they can end up winning 2 more, they will become just the 3rd team in Major League Baseball to put together a double-digit win streak, which is elite company. It'd be phenomenal. They're doing it, ladies and gentlemen, offensively. Now, not exclusively, because last night, Bryce Elder got the win. Bryce Elder is now 6-1 with a 2.44 ERA. Bryce Elder has become the, elder statesman of this pitching group. They've gotten some good work out of Charlie Morton, and now, bad news for the rest of the East, Spencer Strider is getting his groove back. Spencer got the win before Bryce Elder against the Twins. The Braves are hot. Then you add in the fact that they're hitting the ball well. 10 hits last night for the Bravos in 34 at-bats. Only 8 Ks. That's solid work. Ronald Acuna had Lonzo 2 dingers in his first 2 at-bats of the game. Dinger! That's pretty good. You also had a home run pitched in by Austin Riley. You had a home run pitched in by Sean Murphy. You had a home run pitched in by Michael Harris II. That's 5 dingers for the Bravos. 5 of their 6 runs. Well, actually, all 6 runs came off of home runs because one of the home runs from Ronnie was a 2-run shot. All 6 runs from the Braves came off the dinger. But here's the thing. They're not exclusively playing Powerball. They can play a little small ball. And defense, oh my goodness. Ozzie Albies and Orlando Arcia last night had one of the most incredible plays defensively of the season. A smoker of a shot just to the right side of the second base bag. Ozzie Albies went full extension, but he had to catch the ball laid out with his back to first base. You can't get up and make that throw. So what does he do, Zoe? While on the ground, he flips the ball over to the shortstop, Orlando Arcia, who is running towards him. Arcia gets the ball out of the air, throws it to first. It was a 4-6-1 out at first. It was beautiful. The Braves are playing good defensive ball. Ronnie Acuna Jr. made a ridiculous running over the shoulder leaping snag that prevented Minnesota from getting another couple of wins. The big thing that kind of harmed the Braves for a little while there was that their pitching has been badly banged up. It has been badly banged up. Ian Anderson lost to Tommy John surgery. Jesse Chavez out of release, lower leg. He's out until sometime likely in mid-January. Dylan Lee out of the pen. He's out till the 1st. Kyle Wright out until the middle of July. I think I said January a second ago. All of these July. Max Fried, 60-day DL with a forearm. He's out till mid-July. Tyler Matzik out for the season. We mentioned Ian Anderson out for the season. That's just the pitchers, right? The big problem the Braves were going to have is that they lost so much, specifically in relief, but a couple of starters as well. That is a problem. So what do? They lean on Charlie Morton, who's gotten better. They lean on Bryce Elder, who's gotten better. They lean on Spencer Strider, who lost it for a minute, but got his groove back. He fanned 10 in his last appearance. I think he gave up 2 runs across 8 innings. It was phenomenal. So they got 3 guys now that are bona fide, genuine starters. They are getting those guys out of the bullpen back in the next month, which is going to bolster them quite a bit. And on the games that they are going to second-tier starters, they're mashing the ball. The Braves are dangerous right now. There's going to be another cold streak. That's inevitable. But if they can do what they're doing now, at the end of the season, into the playoffs, the Braves at 2-1 to win the NL are not a bad bet. Texas said, Rob, June baseball is garbage, literally trash. Just stick to actual sport. There's stick to sports guy, and then there's stick to actual sports guy. No. You're talking sports, but you're not talking sports good enough. Stick to sports. Back after this to wrap up this hour of the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, we'll be back in just a minute. Don't go anywhere.
For free. Don't even take a minute.
Free AutoZone Fix Finder service.
Your car will thank you, and then you can thank me.
Restrictions apply. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? Just go to 4hims.com/joy. Through HIMS, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process.
What that guy really meant is talk football. But you know.
Go to 4hims.com/joy. That's FORHIMS.com/JOY.
Red, white, and dew savings are happening now at the Home Depot. Prep for all the summer guests and gatherings with up to 60% off select patio sets now at the Home Depot. Shop and save on a wide variety of sets and styles to find what suits your patio best for another season of hosting with the most.
Hosting with the mosting.
Pieces for your space with up to 60% off select patio sets.
You guys want to see what I did? Look, I successfully grew a hibiscus flower from a seed. Nailed it. And because once again, I'm an old guy. Look at the size of this cucumber I grew. It's as big as my head. I hate cucumbers. Courtney loves them, so I grew some cucumbers. That one's as big as my head. I'm a gardening guy. And a good one. Texter says, I'm with stick to actual sports guy. I'd rather listen to my grandma talk about canning green beans than baseball. Well, then you're not a stick to sports guy. You're a stick to specific sports guy.
There's an art to canning, It's got to boil stuff and make sure that seal hits. I mean,
Per our stream conversation of 22 seconds ago, which you should join the stream at facebook.com/thefanupstate, twitter.com/thefanupstate, searching and subscribing to the Fan Upstate on YouTube, or going to Twitch and searching and subscribing to the Rob Brown Show. I was showing off during the break because your boy has gotten into gardening because I'm old. The lady friend and I just harvested our first round of cucumbers, one of which grew to be the size of my hand.
Is it really harvesting from a small backyard garden?
Yeah, that's harvesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's a harvest.
You brought in the harvest. Now you're good for the winter. Okay.
I'm an international harvest man. That's a country song. So big country guy.
Stick to sports.
I am terrified. That the lady friend's going to get us into canning next. Like, I'm terrified of it. I don't want to do that. I want to grow my tomatoes and my peppers and my cucumbers and my onions, and I want to make salsa that blows people's minds. And that's all. That's all I want to do. I'm afraid she's going to get into pickling and canning.
When you said onions, a little bit of Southern came out.
Onions?
Yeah.
Onions.
Yeah, onions.
Yeah, man. Tomatoes, onions, peppers, make a salsa.
I remember one. That's two. No, that's two. That's two.
Oh, man.
I remember one year, because we were struggling financially, as we often did as a child. We helped garden my uncle's garden, and my mom just decided to can green beans, and we had green beans for meals every single day. So now when I see green beans, I'm just like, no thanks.
I had a point bringing up the canning. I'm afraid we're going to get into canning. Texture said, I'd rather listen to Rob talk gardening than baseball. I'm opposite of stick to sports guy. Stick to not sports guy making his appearance. So here's my question.
Also, remember where you are. I mean, canning's very important in this area.
For sure.
So, I mean.
For sure. I think canning might.
Lots of people from the north moving down who don't know how to can. You could probably.
I don't know how to can.
You will.
I might. Here's my sincere question for you guys, and you can text your answer to 71307. Numerically speaking, between 0% and 100%, how much of the show during the summer, I'm talking June, July, right? During May, June, July, genuine question, what percentage of the show should be dedicated to Major League Baseball? 0%, 10%, 20, 25, 30, 33. What percentage of the show during the summer, what percentage of the show should be dedicated to baseball? How much baseball should we throw in? Should it be a little bit? Should it be a lot of it? Should it be just some? Should it be all of it? Like, how much baseball should we throw into the show during the summer months when there's not going on? Because this inevitably happens. Every time we talk baseball, I get two groups of text. I get the group of text from people that start going, hell yeah, go baseball, go Braves, go whatever. And then I get the group of people that start hitting me with, dude, I would rather listen to you talking about canning veggies than baseball. On a scale of 0% to a show that is exclusively baseball at 100%, what percentage of shows during the summer months should be about baseball?
All right, real quick, how much of a percentage does it take on the air when you are plugging your nationally syndicated baseball show?
Well, on the show itself, it's obviously 75% baseball, 25%
No.
everything else.
I mean, on this show, when you're plugging that show, does that count as talking baseball?
If I'm okay.
When's that show on?
Saturdays from noon to 4 is Bet for the Cycle, nationally syndicated baseball gambling show hosted by former MLB player Cody Decker and myself, Rob Brown, available on fine stations and the Odyssey app for free. And it's entertaining as hell. I'm not going to lie. I think we do fairly 10% of this show is baseball. At the maximum, it's like 2 to 3 segments a week, tops. I don't know. Texas said 25%, at least if you grew up in this area, you watched the Braves, and if you didn't get excited last night watching the Braves, the hell with you.
Well,
I love that.
Rob didn't watch the Braves last night.
Pretty much. I would rather listen to wrestling breakdowns than boring-ass baseball talk. But, by the way, I do love Bet for the Cycle. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
So I did find a bunch of new music. I just haven't put it in yet because lazy. But there's like a whole section of nothing but bass-led stuff. And I just would listen to the entire thing of slap bass. Dudes are killing it. All right, Pewter, do the thing.
Pooter.
Come on, Pewter.
Do the thing, Pooter.
It's not doing the thing.
Do the thing.
There it is.
Yeah, he did the thing.
Just needed to yell. That's what it was.
I don't really know what to expect or what I think I'll feel there kind of, but just kind of taking it day by day and enjoying the time here.
Bedard scored 71 goals and had 72 assists this past season in juniors for the Regina Pats of the Western Hockey League. I'm Peter Schwartz. Hey, it's DA. Be sure to listen to CBS Sports Radio at home. Ask Alexa to play CBS Sports Radio.
Pooter. Poot.
I gotta go with cherry Dr. Pepper is pretty good. Also, cherry vanilla. If you go to like Zaxby's, where they have that machine where you can like mix, where they have a ton of different ones, that's pretty good. And Mountain Dew, it's the melon flavor, but you can't find it anywhere in zero sugar like it used to be because me and Joe bought them all.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even though it's difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find.
And I don't understand why the coast area of South Carolina usually has better flavors than this area. Because every time I go there, I look around and find something that I didn't know existed. But maybe I just shop at the wrong stores.
Summer is here, and there's no better way to get on the course than with the Upstate Golf Card. For just $99, you'll get access to premier Upstate.
So will you guys do your grocery shopping at your favorite place, but then there's this other place that has this one specific thing? Do you go to get that one specific thing? Or do you just go, I don't need it that bad?
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing. Together millions of things for our planet. Head up 6
Quit reverting back. That's not how I like it.
waterways and oceans. When we each share our one thing, it becomes a million things for our planet. What's your one thing?
The service at Chuck's car detailing business is spotless. But no word of mouth recommendations leave him short of hands.
Just get him in line behind the pickup truck. I'll stay for another couple hours and get it done.
Indeed.
You got to watch NXT. It's been a turn.
Yeah,
It's been a turn.
I gotta finish Forbidden Door. I made it through the Punk match. The MJF match. I like Tanahashi a lot.
I had a dream about MJF last night. You just mentioned that. I was doing a radio show or something in a dream, and he showed up like he was my buddy and just kept messing with me. And I'm just like, "Would you leave?" Nope, not going anywhere. No, I was in the hospital. That's what it was. I was in the hospital and he showed up. He was being disparaging to the nurses, and I'm like, "Dude, they're taking care of me. Don't." I know you don't care about dreams, so I really enjoyed telling you about my MJF dream. Gable's in first break.
Gable's in the first break.
I admire the restraint of your brother. He said he was going to do something and he didn't. So, on there.
I didn't see him comment. Oh, there he is.
Not that I'm encouraging it or anything. I'm just saying.
A little bit.
I would never do such a thing. I do really enjoy sibling rivalries when they're not mine. Yeah, I mean, with my sister, I'd always end up bloody. So, I mean.
And away we go to the third, the final, the best, the money hour. The Rob Brown Show goes now. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the Fan Upstate. Howdy, y'all. I asked you in the last segment, during the summer months, what I affectionately refer to as the doldrums of sports talk radio. Right? It's the point where people start asking questions like, whose legacy is more impactful, Brady or James?
How long are we talking about here for summer? We're talking June through.
For me personally, I say mid-June through very early August.
See, I don't know I think it would be near the end of July because that's when training camps are starting, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought it was the end of July when the Panthers.
By the way, ladies and gentlemen, I do have a I think we can say it now, right? About the special show.
Well, since I don't know about it, yeah, I can't wait to hear.
I mean, I was in the email. It was in the email, man.
Yeah, I was probably not on that email.
I'm pretty sure you were. Anyway, we will be live at Carolina Panther Camp on July 29th. Huzzah. You'll be there too. What are you talking about?
What day is it?
July 29th.
What is it, a weekday?
I'm assuming it's a Saturday.
Well, then I won't be there.
It's during the day, dude.
Is
Daytime,
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because practice is from 11 a to 1 p that day, which means we will either do like 9 to 11 leading up to practice or like 1 to 3 after practice.
I'm guessing that that will be a show with the two shows combined.
Yeah, that would be my guess.
So
it was last year, and it was great, by the way.
So then I won't be there.
Hey, we'll go all 4.
I mean, that would be amazing.
Yeah, I think we do all 4. I think we do full roundtable. You got the host of the Carolina Kickoff Show, Diesel, who does every pregame show for us. You got yours truly, Rob Brown and Mark Ryan. You got the great one, Lonzo, who has just nailed his Panther draft predictions with the exception of CJ Stroud.
One of these things is not like the other.
Oh, Diesel. He's in shape.
Okay. Yeah, there's that. he's not as sturdy. And we'll see if that is a possibility. I will definitely go, but I got something else going on. So,
I will. Yeah, at night. It's a day. It's
I got it.
Daytime thing.
I got it.
I know. Also, by the way, I will tell you, and I'm working on getting the details, but on the 28th out in De Berg, our friend Rashad Beer with the Panther Nation podcast is putting together a charity event that is going to take place downtown. He has invited Lonzo and I to be a part of it. He's basically bringing all of his Panther broadcaster buddies to one place. And from what I understand, though I will not spoil anything yet, Rashad may have a couple of special guests. Not just Lonzo and I, obviously, but slightly more prestigious special guests coming by. We will let you know the deets on that event for those of you over in the Berg that you can come by because it's for a good cause. And you get to hang out with not just Rob and Zoe, but Rashad Beard as well in person.
We don't have to wear our station shirts, right? We can wear Panther gear.
No, it said white polos only.
Okay.
That's what Rashad said. He said white polos only.
Yeah, you have fun.
All right. So I ask you guys a question. During the summer doldrums, whether or not you consider those going through the end of July or early August or whatever, during the summer doldrums, what percentage of the show should be baseball? And I'm asking you to text that answer to 71307. Start it with fan, and then just put your numbers: 0%, 10%, 25%, 33.33%. Do your Steiner math and come up with what percentage of the show during the doldrums you would want in an ideal world to be baseball. Here are some of the texts that have been sent in so far. Texter said, Rob, I just dislike baseball. I'm sure there are plenty of 80-year-old men that love listening to you talk baseball. Well, again, I sat in a bar Tuesday night with about 30. I was not with 33 middle school kids. They were already there.
Somewhere in between there, if baseball, if baseball is not big in your family, I think the love of baseball goes away. And then it comes back when you're 80.
I will absolutely agree that baseball is ingrained in some families. It wasn't mine, right? My dad, my brother, and I watched all the Braves and Cubs games that we could get our faces into, for sure. So I'm sure I'm close to it. People in the circle of, say, hypothetically, Cody Decker love baseball, because if you love Cody, you just love baseball because that's what he does, right? That's just what he does. So I absolutely agree that a lot of people are brought up in a baseball family, and that baseball family can work to enhance, degrade, keep, lose the love of the game. I would 100% agree with that. But that doesn't mean that it's like relegated to 80-year-olds. Like I said, there were two Little League teams that were in Hall of Fame on Tuesday night watching the Braves-Twins game and the LSU-Florida game that were like into the games. The game's in good hands, right? So I don't know. Texas said, tell no baseball guy to sit and spin on one of his canning jars. Most of us like baseball.
Is that how you seal the jar?
Sealed with love. Texas said, Rob, it's your show. Talk about what you want to. I'm going to turn off the sarcasm for a second. It is not my show.
Oh, you're going to do that. It's your show. Stop.
It is not my show.
It's your show.
No, I'm not going to say it's your show. It's our show. It's our show collectively. And I know that I tend to be sarcastic.
Did you just go Spicoli?
And I tend to lean into the Rob Flair persona, right? But it is our show. It would be if I sat in here and only talked about what only I wanted to talk about, I would not be on the air anymore, right? This needs to be, I want it to be a group show. The good news for me is there's very few spots. You'll notice, for instance, that we don't do any lacrosse talk on this show. Why? I don't get lacrosse. I don't understand lacrosse. I don't want to talk about lacrosse. We don't do any cricket on this show.
We've been invited to go see some lacrosse, if I recall.
We have been. It just hasn't worked out yet, but we have been. And if I ever get lacrosse, I may very heavily get into lacrosse, and then I'll go. We don't do a lot of darts talk. I'm into darts if I'm shooting tequila in a bar. Then I'll play darts, but I don't follow competitive darts.
Wait, shooting tequila, is that? Oh, okay. All right. I'm learning
not
here.
Darts at tequila.
Learn. Okay.
Shooting, taking shots of tequila. I will play some darts.
Oh, I get it now.
There you go. Played some darts this past weekend up in Connecticut. I suck at darts.
People in Connecticut any good at darts?
Well, it was the wedding party that was playing. I got beat by, and this is not a joke, everybody that was at the after party. Everybody beat me. Now, I did play it off with, we were playing with the dart boards that are like the digital dart boards that instead of throwing a dart at a cork dart board, they have the little holes and you throw the plastic darts. And I was like, these aren't good weighted dart. Good weighted dart on bullseye every time. I'm not, but I said that because the bridesmaids beat me top to bottom. You want to take money? First off, you won't take money from Rob Brown playing darts because I will not bet on darts. I suck, and I know it. Anyway, we don't talk about darts, lacrosse, cricket, because I don't want to. But I do want to talk about the things you guys want to talk about. I feel like baseball is on that list, right? I feel like baseball's on that list. I don't know to what degree. I feel like soccer's on that list. I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now. I'm going to give you the warning right now. The 2023 Women's World Cup starts up in less than a month. Less than a month away from the Women's World Cup. The United States plays their first game on July 21st. I am going to tell you now, that is one of those things that I want to talk about. And we are going to be talking Women's World Cup while this thing's going on. And not just the American team. We'll be talking about the whole thing. It's a wonderful competition. We're going to be talking about it. I want to talk about it. But again, it is our show collectively. It's my show. It's Lonzo's show. It's you, the listener show. I want to know what you guys want to talk about. Focus on it. That's why I'm asking. What percentage of baseball should this show be specifically during the doldrums of sports in June and July? Texter said, the bridesmaids beat Rob top to bottom. What kind of wedding was this? Fun one. Not that way, Texter. Relax. Texter said, we don't talk about Bruno. We don't. Thanks for texting the show, Chris Evans. Hurricane Jeff says, being a former baseball player, I'd say 33%. You might get more people interested if you have some kind of contest about baseball. Yeah, I don't do fantasy baseball. It's too much work. It's fun. It's too much friggin' work.
The man's already got 37 jobs. Quit giving him something else to do.
Somebody asked me Monday how many jobs I have. I capped it at 7.
It's 37.
Probably closer to that than what I said. Texter said, I would rather listen to wrestling breakdowns than boring-ass baseball talk. By the way, love the Bet for the Cycle show. All right, I got 2 reactions here. Number 1, do I have good news for you? Because at 11:20 every Thursday, it's time for Fight Club with the great one Lonzo, where we do wrestling, MMA, and boxing.
Big premium live event coming up this weekend.
Money in the Bank. My second favorite event behind only the Royal Rumble. We will be giving a breakdown of that tomorrow. I have no doubt. Also, how do you hate baseball but love Bet for the Cycle? It's only that's not true. We do a lot of other stuff.
The people on it are amazing. So, yeah.
You're not wrong. Texter said, I love canning. It's legit, not that hard. Just watch YouTube. Oh, I wish you would not have said that. Wish you would not have said that, dude.
Come on. She already knows how.
No, she doesn't.
She does it. That's surprising.
She got into pickling at the end of last year. Because we had a ton of cucumbers at the end of last year, and she's like, let me get into, like, she started getting into pickling. She's got the pickling down, but I'm afraid she's going to go from pickling to let's pickle and then can the pickles. And I feel like canning is more like with pickling, it's put vegetable in jar, put stuff in jar, close jar. I feel like with canning, it's going to be more labor intensive, and guess where Rob comes in?
Yeah, canning. You got it's again. There's boiled water involved. There's a lot of things. You got to make sure your seal is right. Yeah, there's a lot of a lot of prep time before you get to the canning part.
Texter said, "Is playing in traffic a real sport? Because I have a suggestion for that stick to sports guy." Dang, we woke up choosing violence today. I see. Texter said, I'd like to know what these stick to sports dudes want to talk about this week. Looks like I see tennis or WNBA games. Listen, I will talk tennis and WNBA. I just know there's not a big audience for it. When we get to, as I have in the past, U.S. Open, French Open, Wimbledon, etc., I will absolutely talk tennis.
We could talk Clemson and Carolina football, but Carolina beat Clemson last year. So that means you probably don't want us to talk about that.
True or false, Lonzo? The overwhelming majority of stick to sports guy actually means stick to college football. True or false?
They might have some NFL sprinkled in there too. But
okay. I say it's true. The overwhelming majority of dudes who hit us with stick to sports, what they really mean is stick to college football. That's what I've learned. You're either a college football dude or you're a sports dude.
Hey, Rob, can we talk about the tight end core at Clemson University right now? Because I don't think they're utilized enough, and perhaps since you are close personal friends with Dabo Sweeney, you could ask Dabo why he doesn't utilize the tight end position as much as I believe he should be. Thank you.
First time, long time. I would say, listen, we are about at the time where, yes, we are going to start getting into our summer college football previews without a doubt. But I just don't think we're there quite yet. I think we're well on the way.
Some people have never left it. I mean, that's their thing. So, oh, look, Tom Brady's trending.
Texas said, I'm sorry we aren't discussing cars going in circles for 3 hours. First off, sir, you watch your mouth with the NASCAR slang.
Yeah, it's going left in circles.
First off, sir, you watch your mouth with the NASCAR slander. We are, because we got 9 races left in the regular season. We got a bunch of guys on the outside looking into the playoffs. We will be, when we get to playoff time, we will absolutely be talking NASCAR. I will tell you, we've kind of hit a dead spot in NASCAR. We've had a lot of mile and a halves, and those are boring to me. But we do have some big ones coming up. We got another race coming up down the fall, the Roval in Charlotte. You better believe we're talking about it because I'll be there. We've got another run at Pocono coming up, and then we got the playoffs. So, yep, we're going to do that. We got another Daytona race on the 4th of July. Nothing better than a race at Daytona. So we'll get there. All right, send me your text. What percentage of the show should be baseball when we're in these summer doldrums? My answer is probably about 30% of it. I'd say about 1 out of every 4 segments. That's actually 25% of it. I'm bad at math. I would say about 25% of the show during the doldrums is baseball because it's the sport that's happening that has a much more broad appeal. NASCAR is going to get a segment a week. Tennis is going to get 1 to 2 segments a month. Baseball's every day. I'm going to say about 10%. Let's see. On the stream, James said, like Stella Spencer Strider got his groove back. He really did. He really did. Let's see. Hudson says 33 and 33% of the show should be about baseball. I agree with that.
Well, today it's been about 50%. So if we're keeping percentages.
James said, see on the Rob Brown show, you got a 33 and a can't do it. You got a 33 and a third % chance of talking baseball, but Rob's a genetic freak, which means he's going to talk about baseball 66% of the time. Yeah, I'm all down for some Steiner math. Marcus F. said, I'm here for competitive gardening. I also enjoy extreme canning. What is extreme canning? I don't know. Roger said when you talk.
I don't want to look it up, but at the same time, it's
I
like.
think it's a joke. Leave it alone.
Yeah.
For your own sanity and well-being.
But even some jokes you find out are actually.
Yeah, Roger said when you talk golf, I stopped by the hardware store and watched them mix paint. I did 1 segment of golf so far this week.
By the way, there's an art to how they mix that paint and just get it just perfect.
Yeah, especially when you start getting them into like the custom. Do you know that there is an infinite number of shades of white? You know how many shades of white there are? Like 1 billion. And you better get it right, dude. To get that perfect shade. Oh, it's wild.
Let's see. Extreme canning cover art, painting art. The internet's safe space for extreme canning. I don't know. Should I click on that? I don't know. There's a YouTube channel for extreme canning. So it's a thing.
Yep. All right. Let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, got a few more things that I want to get to on the radio broadcast. Hard Knocks. We still in for Hard Knocks?
I haven't watched it in years.
I haven't either, but that doesn't mean no.
But I didn't have HBO at the time, and so I'm guessing it would be available on Max.
I would think so.
So I probably could watch it.
I think access is a part of it. I also think there's been some years that it just hasn't been interesting, right? Like the Cardinals last year. Was there anything interesting?
I have a problem with watching people get cut. I mean, that just bothers me. I don't know. I don't know how that's interesting.
When they cut old, what's his name from the Patriots that year? Rex, Sexy Rexy. What was that guy's last name when he got cut? Anyway, when they cut that dude, Patriots player cut on Hard Knocks. Live Googling is just, I mean, it's a ton.
See, the other thing is this is the equivalent of watching Real Housewives or something. I mean, it's a reality show, but it's about something that you really care about.
Yeah.
And I just, I guess that's what they want. They want you to feel like what you imagine that guy feels when he gets that thing, hey, come to the office. Yeah, I don't like that part.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about that coming up next because Hard Knocks has picked their target. And for the first time, probably in the last handful of seasons, it's one I kind of want to check in on. So we'll talk about that coming up later on in the radio broadcast. We might talk some Shohei Ohtani. Hey, look at that. More baseball. And maybe even a minute or two of Falcons talk. We'll see. Texas said, I thought this was a show about mayonnaise with a dash of sports. Goodbye. I'm gone forever. Texas said, just for that, we're talking about the Barbie movie now. You know how many of my dude friends said they're in for this movie? I'm not judging. I'm
If,
entertained.
if you've seen the extended trailer and get what it's about,
Yeah.
I could see why some people would be interested. No, I will not be reviewing that movie.
I'm not into it. I'm just not into it. I haven't decided.
Which would you rather see, Barbie or Indiana Jones?
Oh, Indiana Jones. You'll never not want to make me watch Indiana Jones. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Cables.
All right, guys, got into the live read. Stay right there. We'll be right back.
Probably someone hasn't remade it.
Say what you just said to me again. What's on your screen right now?
Jason Kelsey competing against another dude drinking a beer. And then he shows his belly afterwards because, yes, he won. And there's a fanny pack. Because it's Jason Kelsey and he doesn't care.
All right, let's see. It's okay, first off, they're drinking 30-ounce steins.
Okay.
30 ounces is 2 full beers plus.
He's bent over for a while afterwards. Maybe it was cold. I don't know.
30 ounces of beer is a lot to chug.
And it looks like there's a radio show going on right there or
For the
something.
record,
Yeah.
He freaking chugs it, dude.
It's Jason Kelsey.
He chugs it. Holy cow. That's genuinely impressive. Even if you're that big, that's a lot of beer. Zoe just found a video of Philadelphia Eagles offensive lineman Jason Kelsey, brother of Travis Kelsey, chugging a beer. Scratch that. Chugging 2.5 beers. Dude puts down a 30-ounce beer in probably 3.5 seconds, maybe 4.
But are you surprised? It's Jason Kelsey. I mean, that's,
chugging 30 ounces of beer is impressive. Now, so for instance, at Triumph tailgates, your boy will frequently shotgun a beer. That's 12 ounces, right? That's chugging 12 ounces. And usually after that, there's a second or two where I'm like, I am not 25 anymore, my guy. I got to chill, which is why I do like one a tailgate because it's a tradition. One a tailgate because after that, I'm hurting. 30 ounces of beer is 2.5 cans of beer that dude puts down in 3.5, 4 seconds. But my favorite part, aside from the fact that Travis Kelsey raises his hands to display his offensive lineman belly and his fanny pack over his floral shorts that he's rocking.
It's Jason. If Travis has a belly, we got a problem.
That's true. Aside from that, my favorite part is that Jason Kelsey then stands there for a solid 15, 20 seconds, bent over, hands on knees, like he has just finished playing a Super Bowl, fighting for his life to keep that beer down. There's one of two things that's happening there. Either A, he is fighting to keep that beer down and not yak in front of the couple hundred people gathered to watch this, or B, that dude is about to unleash a belch that we would hear in Greenville. One of the two.
I wish that I could be as proud of my gut as he is of his, because he just lets that whole thing go. I mean, he doesn't care.
I mean, when you're Jason Kelsey.
Yeah, that's true.
You've seen the stuff he's worn at Super Bowl parades.
Yeah.
All right.
Where it was I forget what it's called, but it's like a genie type thing.
Cormac.
It has
that Johnny Carson's guy?
Yeah, but it has a specific name, and I forget what it is. But yeah, that just popped up and I saw it right from the beginning. It's like, oh yeah, he's winning this. I mean, that's a guy you go when he walks up to anything like this, you're like, yeah, he's winning this. Would you give him a run for his money though?
No.
Okay.
No.
Would you at least?
Not 30 ounces.
Would you accept the challenge?
12. I would absolutely accept it, and he would kick every square inch of my rear end without a doubt. I would take on the challenge on a 12-ounce beer. I would take the challenge for a 12-ounce. He'd probably still win, but I'd give him a run. Full 30 ounces, not a chance.
So let's say if we're at the Panther thing and someone would challenge you to do something like that.
Yeah, if Moton wants to go 12 ounces for 12 ounces, I'll give it a shot.
Okay. All right.
I'll get smoked, but I'll give it a shot. I would rather do it against like Shy Smith, right? Give me like one of the little dudes. Give me a shot. 2001 was the debut of HBO's Hard Knocks, a reality show, I guess, which documents the training camp of an NFL team. It opened with the Baltimore Ravens in 2001. They have since gone with the Cowboys, Chiefs, Cowboys again, Bengals, Jets, Dolphins, Bengals again, Falcons, Texans, Rams, Bucks, Browns, Raiders, Rams, and Chargers back in 2020. The Cowboys, the Colts, the Lions, and the Cardinals. In the 2021 season was the Colts. They actually tried something new. They did it in season. Right? This show, Lonzo, should be, and I would argue used to be, really compelling. The first year that the Patriots did it was very, very good.
Do you think the internet has made it not irrelevant, but has lessened it to a degree? Because now you get so much information coming out of every camp and you know so much about everything that's going on that you no longer need something like this to try to get some insight into your team.
Yes. Yes, I absolutely do. I think that it is easier now to have direct contact with your team than ever before, right? I at this point, everything that happens in a training camp is available on Twitter and social media pretty much outright immediately, right? Like just right out the gate. It's right there on the social. So I do think that helps a little bit. I also think that with the rise of the insiders, we know, all right, put it this way. I don't frequently, Zoe, watch full games after the games have already happened, right? I will if it's a big, like if it's a playoff game that I had to miss because I had obligations, I'll go back and watch a playoff game because that's important. But if I miss Monday Night Football, even if it was a big one, the odds that I'm going to go back and watch the full Monday Night Football game are very low. I'm likely going to go back and watch the highlights, or I'm going to watch the abbreviated version on the NFL app, you know, the one that skips all the huddles and alignments, and they pretty much just show you the plays. That's probably what I'm going to watch. I think Hard Knocks kind of suffers the same thing because when Hard Knocks comes on, all the stuff has already happened. And with the rise of the insiders via social media, you already know who got cut, right? And to see it happen is both A, retroactive, and B, while some of us find it interesting, as Lonzo pointed out a little while ago, it's kind of tough to sit there and enjoy watching dudes lose their jobs and their livelihoods in real time, right? But what does kind of negate that and make it compelling, I think, is watching chemistry develop, watching storylines, watching players interact in a way that even with social media, we can't get, right?
But how much of this is how the editor cuts it to make it, I mean, because you can make it look like something it's not very easily and make it look like, you know, this is what really happened and maybe it didn't.
Yep. I think the first handful of seasons of Hard Knocks, it felt like there was minimal, right? Like you have to edit it because you a full camp practice lasts 2.5 hours. You can't make a 2.5 hour show just about practice. You got to cut it down to whatever an episode length is now. I don't know if it's 30 minutes or an hour or whatever.
You know, in that case, I mean, in this day and age, I'd rather watch practice. I know we can't.
For sure. It still is going to give you more inside looks than you're going to get on your own, no matter how many beat writers you follow on social media, without a doubt. I think it's about the teams, right? Like the 2021 Cowboys were kind of interesting. They were kind of interesting because that is about the time that the questions about Dak Prescott started floating around, right? Can he be the guy? He's good, but can he be that guy? The next in line of great Cowboys quarterbacks. There were questions about the relationship between Dak and his skill position players. That was about the beginning of the end for Zeke Elliott, right? There were a lot of questions about a lot of Cowboys that, to me, made 2021 interesting. The 2021 Indianapolis Colts, what was compelling about them, right? Not a whole heck of a lot. What was compelling? Now, the 2022 Lions are compelling now, but did they look compelling before that season? No. We all kind of assumed they were going to suck. Turned out they weren't bad. In fact, the Lions in some books are actually the odds-on favorite to win the NFC North, and I don't have a problem with that, to be honest with you. The Packers are going with Jordan Love, but they don't have a lot of skill talent around him. I don't know that he's going to be able to thrive in his first year as a full-time starter. The Vikings are the Vikings, and Chicago's a big fat question mark behind Justin Fields. I like Chicago to win that division, but we'll see. But preseason, the Lions weren't compelling. You got a new head coach who's a bit of a weirdo in Dan Campbell. Remember the bite their kneecaps off comment or whatever he said?
I don't know if that's weird. I think that's intensity.
Yeah, it's a weird way to show it. It's a weird way to show it. So you had a new coach that nobody was super familiar with, whose comments really didn't start to come to light until after Hard Knocks went through and went off the air. You had a team that was expected to not be great. Effectively, the only really thing that was super compelling about that team was their quarterback scenario, right? That was like really it. The Cardinals last year in season, the Cardinals didn't get interesting until you realize, they suck, right? They were supposed to be good. They were supposed to be a divisional threat. Instead, they're terrible. But again, at that point, we were halfway into Hard Knocks. Like, I'm not going back to catch up, right? If they go with the Jets, the rumor is that's the team that they're circling right now. That's compelling, right? There's a lot of pressure on the Jets. You got Aaron Rodgers. That in and of itself is probably worth the watch. You got Aaron Rodgers, who's bringing in a bunch of former Packers to play with him. Well, if he brings a bunch of former Packers, aren't the guys who were already on the Jets, some of whom lost their job to former Packers, could there be a little tension there?
See, Aaron Rodgers is already guarded to a degree. How much you really going to get out of him? Unless we're not going to get mushroom corner. Hey guys, come on in. Let's see what the best mushrooms are.
Mushroom corner.
We're not going to get that. He's going to be as vanilla as Belichick.
I'm not by any means going to argue with that. Like, I don't.
Now, if we do get mushroom corner, that would be interesting. I mean, not that I would partake, but just to see who actually shows up to that.
Mushroom corner. I think it's kind of interesting because I do think the Aaron Rodgers thing is compelling, right? I think the team finding its chemistry is going to be relatively compelling, considering, like we said, a lot of Packers coming in, replacing some Jets that had some cohesion and started building towards being a pretty good team last year, despite the L streak at the end of the year. Now, some of those guys that built the foundation for what the Jets are going to be this year are now out of a job because of Aaron Rodgers and the former Packers. I find that to some degree compelling. Robert Saleh has kind of elevated himself to some degree to maybe the most intriguing coach in the NFL this year, right? Robert Saleh, what he did with the Jets last year was really interesting. Now they have another year of Robert Saleh. I think that there's some interest in seeing what he looks like in his second year. I think the Jets are compelling, and I think Hard Knocks knew if we don't put together a compelling story, this show kind of loses its gusto a little bit. So I think this is a great pick. I'm going to tell you, it's the first year in probably the last 3, because the Rams and Chargers dual Hard Knocks didn't really do anything for me, right? The Raiders before that didn't really do anything for me. Now, if you're a fan of the Raiders, yeah, I'm going to watch, right? But I'm only going to watch another team on Hard Knocks if it's a team that has a compelling storyline, and the Jets do, because not only do they have all these preseason things to talk about, but look at what the Jets have to do. The whole thing has been, if Rodgers doesn't win in New York, it's going to be a bust, right? Because they're spending so much money to make him happy to be there. But the Jets have to play Josh Allen twice. The Jets have to play Miami and Tua Tagovailoa twice.
Come on now. It's just Josh.
I'm going to give you Josh Allen. I'm going to say 2. He lost the third.
How much have you heard about Buffalo or Josh Allen since Aaron Rodgers went
yesterday? ESPN ran a piece or put something on their website that was, will Josh Allen or Joe Burrow take over Mahomes' spot as the best quarterback in the NFL? And it was like a whole piece. I think it was a little bit.
This time last year and the year before, all we heard was Josh Allen. We're not hearing that.
Yeah, we'll see. But regardless of whether he's in that league or not.
Welcome to second or third or maybe last place, Josh Allen.
No chance he's last place. 0% chance he doesn't do better than Mac Jones in New England. New England's finishing last of that division this year.
What if New England picks up a certain receiver?
Even with D-Hop, they are last in that division. It's a 3-horse race between the Bills, the Jets, and the Finns, right? So I think the Finns come in third. Now, the Finns are, according to reports, about to offer Dalvin Cook a contract. That's a big pickup if they do, because I think Cook's closer to the end of his career than the beginning.
Will Tyreek be suspended though?
That's another question.
Yeah.
Right? That's another big question. He got some problems with the arrest at the yacht club. So I do think it is compelling. I do think it is interesting because not only do you have all these preseason dramatic storylines that the Jets have to go through, but on top of that, you got to think about what they have to overcome to be ready for a season, which they got to play Josh Allen twice. They got to play maybe Dalvin Cook, but Tua Tagovailoa and I think overachieving Dolphins of last year, but a lot of people think the Dolphins are going to be good again this year. And of course, they do have Hoodie. I think the Patriots coming last in that division does not mean that Bill Belichick hasn't gotten the better of the Jets the majority of his career, right? So that's an interesting division. That's one of the more compelling divisions in the NFL this year, and the Jets have to prepare themselves for that in the preseason. I think Hard Knocks got this one right. April texted the show, said, hey, guys, I believe the Jets are doing a couple of joint practices with the Panthers. Not only are they, but I believe they're here, which means that we're all going to take a ride over to the Bird because if Rodgers is practicing here, we're 100% going to watch.
Dude,
right?
without a doubt. Yeah.
I don't care what day it is.
I can finish my work later on in the evening. Let's
100%.
go.
I don't care, to the point that if it's an 11-1 practice, I'm going to be down at the end of the hall like, boss, let us go live, right? Let us go live. Let us be there for that. Let us broadcast from the practice field.
Yeah, I don't know if that would be allowed, but if it would, let's do it.
If the Panthers are open to it, I will make it happen. 100%. Rob in Inman texts the show. He said, Rob, come to the Inman Beer Vault on Friday, and I'll give you a beer to lose to me in a chugging contest. Rob, the rule is loser buys the beer. That being said, I really would actually like to, but the mom and the nephew are coming in town on Friday, and listen, I'm not bringing my nephew to a bar. He's 5. Not bringing him to a bar, right? Not going to be a hypocrite. But I am absolutely going to say, Robin Inman, rain check me that, and I'm 100% in. Rain check me a chugging contest at the Inman Beer Vault, and I'll be there. Rain check that. And I'm 100% in. Texture said, Barbie is a perfect movie for the summer, includes a beauty in it, and also I'm definitely going with a girlfriend. I'm 23 and I'm in. Dude, yeah.
Like I said, watch the extended trailer. It might compel you.
I'm going to after the show now.
Because these smaller trailers they don't really give you an idea of what it's going to be about, but the extended trailer makes me ponder possibly.
Yeah, the only trailers I've seen were very short, and they basically made it look like live action Toy Story. And I get the impression that's not the vibe.
Barbie goes into the real world.
Okay, so
and finds out what that's like.
Oh, that's
so yeah.
Texas said, if the show starts discussing mason jars, I'm done. I own like this. You know what? I do have a mason jar thing. I really do.
You're not burying your money in the backyard.
No.
Because I don't know how you're getting that kind of money. But anyway.
I don't have justifiably bury my own money. All right. I will say this about the mason jars. So when you think mason jars, top of your head, if you don't know words, what's the name of the company that's written across the majority of the mason jars you see in the South? Do you know?
I thought it was mason jars.
No.
I did a ball. Yeah.
Ball.
Okay.
This is really interesting. Ball doesn't make mason jars anymore. The mason jars that are out there made by Ball have been out there forever because people hang on to their mason jars forever.
Tell me you're not collecting Ball mason jars.
I don't collect them, but we absolutely have a bunch.
Right? Okay.
The lady friend has a bunch. She's big in the mason jar. Mason jars, for the record, are the absolute best summertime drinking vessel. You give me a boozy Arnold Palmer on the back porch, and mason jars are the way to go. All right. They don't make mason jars anymore because a number of years ago, they got into the defense contracting games. Now they specifically make parts for jet fighters. Isn't that weird? They went from mason jars to building jet fighter parts. Texter says, hot take, Margot Robbie is not that attractive, 7.5 out of 10. You're right. That is a hot take. That might be the hottest hot take. Are you kidding me? Have you seen Wolf of Wall Street? She's a smoke show, my guy. a smoke show. Let's take a break. When we come back, we wrap this show up. Are you in or out for Hard Knocks if the Jets are the team? I'm 100% in. 100% in if Hard Knocks is the team. Let's take a break. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Wake up with a morning jolt of in-depth sports analysis and discussion every weekday at 6.
Squash relish?
Only on the Fan Upstate.
I don't believe I've heard of squash relish before.
Squash relish?
Maybe I have. I don't know. So, like, would you put that on a hot dog?
Prospect, ranked as high as number 126 overall and the number 8 safety in the class. That's according to ESPN rankings. Speaking of Clemson athletics, the final polls for the college of baseball season being released on Tuesday. And for Clemson, after
Take us off the thing for a second. Just for a second.
Be right back in just a second.
Some tragic news to report. Former NFL quarterback Ryan Mallett drowned in Florida Tuesday. Mallett was drafted out of Arkansas by the Patriots in 2011. He was currently a high school football coach.
So you put them in the pinto beans while you're making the pinto beans, or you put them as you serve them? Put it in that.
Squash relish. So squash relish is just relish that's made out of squash?
Squash, I suppose. You know, more than likely, I probably had it before, but probably looked at it and went, that looks like cucumbers, and then just ate it.
We're going abroad for the first time in years to Spain, so we started using Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
I've started to now say I don't believe I've done that before because maybe I have. My memory is getting to a point where if I say I haven't done that and I get a look from someone, it's like, oh, maybe I have. Talking about eating food, by the way, not other stuff.
It is well, I don't want to say it in case it's on Twitter trending.
It is. Stop it.
I didn't say anything. You don't even know what I'm talking about.
You said enough.
You don't even know what I'm talking about.
You said enough. You got the first 2 letters out of what you were going to say. And yes, that's the first thing I'm going to say.
But I didn't say it, so it's
Okay.
on the list.
All right, fine.
I'm learning. It only took me a year and a half.
We've been doing this longer than that,
Yeah.
but maybe, you
How
know.
long have we been together? 2 years? It's not over 2 years. I guess
Yeah.
it's probably right at 2 years.
No,
I gotta go
it's
back.
probably kind of like halfway to 3.
Yeah.
It's been like 2.5 years because it was right before Christmas a couple years ago.
It was. You're right. You're right.
I remember the day of my freedom. We're going abroad. Recipes with Rob. Welcome to Recipes with Rob.
I like it. We should start a YouTube cooking show. Do you remember when I did the Doritos hamburger?
Yeah. Yes, over our argument over which is better.
Yep. Cool Ranch, by the way.
Not so.
I think on a cheeseburger, nacho cheese actually might be the way to go.
If you do if you want to do a cooking show, I want to be your intro guy, and I will do it entirely as Clemson Boonhauer. Discuss.
I was watching King of the Hill yesterday because it was what was on when I got home. And they had an episode where they went to a Texas Longhorn game. And so we had Longhorn Boomhauer, and it was hilarious.
Welcome to Twitter Trending Topics, where I tell Rob what's trending, and he will tell all of us, regale us, let us know the reason why the first thing is trending is 25 years ago today.
That is not what I was going to
say. It was not. Okay.
No.
Okay.
No, I told Lonzo I started saying something during break. I'm like, let me chill out in case it's trending.
All right. So maybe your thing is not.
It's not. My thing is 12 years ago, CM Punk dropped the pipe bomb on us.
That was
12-year anniversary of the pipe
and
bomb.
as we have found out, scripted.
I mean,
Yeah.
allegedly.
Anyway, okay. 25 years ago today.
It is June.
One of JR's best descriptions of something that was going on.
Hell in a Cell? Yes. It was 25 years ago today.
Yes.
How about that? By God, he's broken in half.
So, also, I don't know if you've seen this, but which I haven't watched it yet, but The Undertaker and Mick Foley are sitting down to.
I mentioned it on Monday.
Yeah.
It's I don't do a lot of the like wrestling spin-off shows, primarily because I already watch like 6 to 8 hours of wrestling a week. And fast forwarded, but I watched like 6 to 8 already, so I can't add other stuff in. I'm 100% gonna watch that. That match, Lonzo, was like, you see these moments where you're like, when it happens, you're like, I just watched something that was going to be talked about for a very long time. Brett beating Stone Cold by bloodying him and making him pass out. I knew in that moment that was going to be history. Jannetty going through the barbershop window. You knew you just saw something that was going to be talked about for a long time. Mankind getting thrown through the roof of the cell and landing in an unscripted spot. The cell just broke. You knew you were going to be talking about that for a very long time. And here we are 25 years later. I will absolutely watch that.
All right. The next thing that's trending is Mel Brooks.
I saw that he was trending earlier, and I'm not going to lie. I hovered to find out why, and I didn't click because I knew. Listen, most celebrity deaths, I'm like, oh, that's really sad.
He ain't dead.
I know, but for a second, I'm like, I'm not going to click that because if Mel Brooks died, it's going to ruin my show. It is going to ruin me and my show.
97 years old.
And still going. Which further leads me to believe, ladies and gentlemen, that being in good spirits and loving laughing is the key to long life.
All right. The next thing that's trending is Kathy Bates.
Kathy Bates does not get enough credit for the talent she has. I don't care what movie you pick.
Yeah. Anytime I see her, I think of two things. I think of Misery.
Oh, God.
Which really just bothered me more than any horror movie has ever bothered me.
scene.
Yes. Makes you feel all oogie, doesn't it?
Ugh.
Yeah.
I can't even think about
or
that.
Bobby Boucher's mom. And if you watch during some of those scenes where Sandler's in the forefront, she's in the back dancing and doing a bunch of goofy stuff behind.
She also was in The Office for a little while as Joe, who bought Dunder Mifflin, and so she was Michael Scott's boss for a little while. Did a wonderful job of being kind of like a straight woman with some edge to Michael Scott. Kathy Bates has been in so many incredible movies and TV shows, and yet when we ask about favorite actors, Kathy Bates is never discussed, and damn it, she should be.
She's 75.
Happy birthday, Kathy Bates.
Last thing, Vanna White is trending.
So America, you guys realize we don't have to hire Ryan Seacrest and Steve Harvey for everything, right? Like you can find some other people. Seacrest got hired to replace Pat Sajak, who is retiring from Wheel of Fortune, I think, next year. And they're going to go with Seacrest to replace him. They should have just gone with Vanna.
Well, Vanna wants to continue working.
Sure.
So that's one of the reasons.
Vanna White, as far as I'm concerned, has, the old fabled lifetime contract, right? They don't really exist. Vanna White could be 89. If Vanna wants to spin the letters, she spins the damn letters. Vanna's got a lifetime contract. I don't care how old she gets. She's the best. Nobody spins a letter like Vanna. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for us. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. We'll be back tomorrow to do it all over again, but better. Rashad Beard joins us at 9:40. Fight Club with the great one at 11:20. All tomorrow on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Later, brother. Would ranch ice cream melted over a hot burger be good? Well, you don't have to. Ranch ice cream melted?
No.
Just put ranch on the burger, dude. Like a barbecue ranch burger is good.
Agreed.
A traditional cheeseburger with a dollop. Don't drown it, but a dollop of ranch is good. But why would you melt ranch ice cream over a burger? Don't do that. That's gross. That's
Just
gross,
to be
man.
torturous.
Oh, yeah. That's the worst. Y'all are spectacular. Thank you very much. I got to buzz up out of here because I got to get some sound clips loaded. Greenville Liberty play at home tonight. Last regular season game of the schedule. They need a lot of help to make it to the playoffs, so may or may not be the last game of the season. I will be on the call solo tonight at 11sports.com if you want to watch and hang out with us, or just buy tickets and come watch the game in person. It's going to be a good time. Y'all have a good rest of your day. Thanks for watching. You're spectacular people. Goodbye.